The night's long shadows have dragged you through time and across worlds to kneel here before my worm-eaten throne. I offer you now this one chance to walk away with your lives and your souls intact. Please, tell me our story. The greatest human tragedy, one marked by songs and screams throughout the ages, is that the only more profound feeling than true love is the unexplainable loss of true love. Have you ever loved someone so much and then suddenly you were forced to let them go? The reasons are many: betrayal, responsibility, self-sabotage, death. Sometimes the reason is much, much quieter, life pulling you each in different directions. Or worst of all, you never know the reason why things fell apart, and you're left with only questions. Why didn't I fight harder? Why didn't I do something different? Why didn't I say what I meant when it still mattered? But we don't get to change the past. Not in our world, anyways. As you watch tonight's story set just a few years prior to the cataclysm, know that beneath the high adventure, the black magic, and the likely death of our heroes is a tale about the heart of an amazing woman with so much to lose. Her true love, Arit al-Nahuri. And though we know what the future holds for Sabriyya Sunishal, that doesn't mean that she's safe in our tale tonight. If anything, Sabriyya's never been more in peril. So, our story tonight begins in the desert of the shifting sands, with the sun beating down hot enough to choke all life from the wasteland. In the heart of the shifting sands is a dark territory haunted by terrible beasts and roving bands of gnolls. It's known as the Howling Valley, and it comes by its name honestly. The wind howls ferociously here, whipping the sand into a flurry. Nestled between two towering, tooth-like red crag mountains lies an ancient ruin, recently excavated for some unknown reason. The upper half of the Lost Pyramid has revealed an open, shadowy archway that seems to lead inside the structure. The pyramid stones themselves, though worn by time, are smooth and covered in vulgar, ancient runes. And before its entrance, there looms a statue twice the height of any man. And just above, at the edge of the excavation site, we meet an adventuring dwarf as he looks down onto the Lost Pyramid. Hello, Pope, and welcome to Dragonlance. Please, as we're standing here and looking down on this ruin, tell me a little bit about Kelvin Stonewarden, what he looks like, what he's thinking right now, why he found himself here at this place.
Kelvin's here because, well, being a disappointment takes you very interesting places. And being the fifth son means you have a lot of free time and a lot to disappoint. And, well, within dwarven clans, arcane magic's not necessarily smiled upon. Divine has preference. And one can get to a lot of trouble. So, in our part of the world, need to make some coin. What's a fast way to make coin? Find some place that's terrible and pocket money off the people trying to exploit it.
That is very sound reasoning, and this place does look terrible. Go ahead and roll me a history check. Kelvin's a learned man, and particularly when it comes to the occult and the arcane. And with a 20, he knows some pretty interesting rumors about this particular site. Within is said to be an ancient temple to a queen who lived long ago. And she once ruled much of the shifting sands, much of this region. What was so interesting about her is that, at least the myths claim, that she ruled a kingdom where beast and man and gnoll all coexisted, all served her, all worshipped her. It's been buried for a long time. No one's seen it. It's sort of just a legend. But these two red-cragged mountains, these two teeth-like structures with the pyramid nestled beneath, it's enough to at least pique the curiosity. And that's where you find yourself right now. There is, before the pyramid, a statue. And statue's details have been worn away by wind and time, but it does seem to depict a naked female body with the head of a jackal, which matches the legends you've heard. The statue's arms are reaching out demandingly towards the sky. And from here, you can see a large swarm of fat flies buzzing around the statue's head. Around its feet roams a pack of wild dogs, and sometimes the dogs bark seemingly at nothing. Sometimes they whimper. Sometimes they gnash their teeth. But you've been here watching for a while, and they've seen you, but they have been notably passive towards you.
All interactions are stories. And I'm not their prey. That's not my role. They haven't arrived yet. Once I meet them, time to make friends, so I can pick the money off their corpses.
You continue to stand there, looking down. You haven't seen anyone enter the dig site. It's about 50 feet, a slope. It's steep, but you could walk it. You wouldn't have to climb to the actual entrance to the upper area of this pyramid. You've not seen anything besides this pack of wild dogs that seem to kind of loiter around this statue. But go ahead and roll me a perception check now. It's pretty good. A 16. As you're standing there, kind of lost in the gaze and your thoughts, waiting for opportunity, you do hear something in the distance, the patter of riders. And you see coming down over a great sand dune, maybe half a mile away, it looks like 3, 4, 5, several riders on white horses beginning to approach your area. There's plenty of places for you to hide if you wish to. You could greet them.
No need to hide. I'm a friend.
So from here, let's cut away from Kelvin for a moment, there at the edge of this dig site, and go meet the rest of our party. 5 majestic white horses gallop down this great sand dune towards the Lost Pyramid. The riders have been traveling for 2 days and 3 nights, driven by a mission of great importance. The 4 of the riders is Prince Omar of the powerful Banu Shapir clan. Omar is a tall, athletic man with a fine jawline, just enough stubble on his chin to make him seem rugged, and his blue eyes shine like an oasis in the yellow wasteland. He wears fine, colorful cotton and silk garments that almost entirely cover his bejeweled leather armor, shines in the sun. Behind Prince Omar, on one side, rides Rashan Sari, a well-respected Banu Shapir warrior and the prince's personal guard. Hello, Kiana. What does Rasha look like right now as you approach the pyramid? Tell me a little bit more about her.
So, Rasha, being the prince's personal guard, is quite well equipped. She has armor that as well shines from the sun as her long black hair blows back, covered by a colorful rainbow scarf. And strapped to her back is a large, wicked-looking glaive with leather dyed in different colors wrapped around the handles and trinkets that clank against each other as the horses ride on.
And as she serves Prince Omar, she is his personal guard, his most trusted warrior. She's one of the greatest warriors in the Banu Shapir clan. On Prince Omar's other side is an outsider to the tribe, but one whose wisdom is known by many of the tribes of the Shifting Sands. Greg, as the winds howl and send stones and sand flying into Akem's face, tell us a little bit more about Akem, what he looks like and what he's doing right now.
Akem is a salt mage. He lives away from civilization. He understands that the gods are not above but around. And he will often work with the tribes, but he does not work for them. And as he looks around now at those he is riding with and not for, he measures.
How has he prepared for this journey? Does he have personal belongings, things that are tools of the trade that he's packed? Or is it just himself?
He's wearing the garbs that would keep him safe from wind and sand, and decorated through the pockets and around the belt are vials of different silica, of sand and salt, of soot, of ingredients and craft, of a trade and a magic that he is designed from nature itself. He has no need for the education of wizards. He was born of the salt, and to the salt he will return. But in between, he carries it with him, and it listens when he calls.
So Prince Omar, writing between the two of you, is a new leader to the Banu Shapir people. His father, Sultan Khalid, has recently grown very ill, and shortly after Sultan Khalid became too sick to govern, war came to the Shifting Sands from dark territory. The largest horde of gnolls seen in centuries began to ravage camps, towns, cities. Entire tribes have been devoured by this horde. It was during the first successful battle against these gnolls that Gaspar, the leader of the Al-Nahuri clan, discovered that there was something different about them. They seemed to resemble jackals more than hyenas. They looked different. And while they were just as flesh-hungry as other gnolls, they also seemed to act with more cunning, more strategy. So, with them on the hunt, ravaging for 6 months, a war started. And it was this war that began to bring the Banu Shapir clan and the Al-Nahuri clan closer together. And Gaspar has said that he's seen dark priests amongst their ranks calling out the name of blasphemous gods. And during this war, the horde has thinned significantly, but raids are still common. Recently, Banu Shapir scouts reported to the prince that a small pack of gnolls has been excavating an ancient ruin in the Howling Valley. Gaspar Al-Nahuri fears that they might be looking for some powerful weapon or magic, and so a small expedition of the two clans was sent out to the area to learn more. Led by Prince Omar himself, the expedition is joined by the Al-Nahuri clan and Jaunt, one of Al-Nahuri's most fearsome warriors. Hi, Belle. Tell us a little bit more about Jaunt and how he's prepared for this mission.
Jaunt is an outrider, so he gathers things from his travels, including every major significant quest he's been on. He's gathered a cloth from the remnants of a ruin or an enemy and sewn them into a scarf that he wears around his neck. He is a very unorthodox long-range fighter, so he's got dried gourds with corks in it hanging off the sides of his belt, tiny little bottles. He's got 2 separate water skins, one for water and one where he, in a cave, has gathered a population of dangerous toads that he keeps alive in one of the water skins. He carries a longbow, and on his belt, there's a large metal hook with a giant piece of semi-opaque rock salt that he uses as an alchemical ingredient in some of his strategy.
So I just want to get this straight, because this is a mental image that I've been wondering about. He has actual poisonous frogs inside his water skin.
Yeah, it's the frogs native to the caves in the area. Wouldn't be poisonous in terms of killing somebody, but the toxin itself has a lot of reactions with other materials in the area. So he uses them, maintains them as pets, and uses them for his doings.
Fantastic. John, your orders from Gaspar Al-Nahuri were clear. You are to protect Sabriyya Sunashal as though you were protecting Gaspar himself. You are also to treat Prince Omar as though he were Gaspar's own son and do whatever it takes to ensure both of them return alive from the expedition. And so you are joined by Sabriyya Sunishal, the priestess of the sun god Syrian, the outsider woman who has converted the Al-Nahuri clan to her god. Prince Omar has not been shy during these 3 nights and 2 days about being unhappy that Gaspar sent you, Sabriyya, to this expedition. Meanwhile, you were ordered to use your great wisdom and your judgment to deal with the ruins in whatever way you believe to be prudent to the survival of the clans. You are supposed to protect Prince Omar as well. Omar is set to marry Arit al-Nahuri, Gaspar's beautiful dark-haired daughter. That ceremony is meant to occur in 2 weeks, almost immediately after this expedition. So right now, Allison, what does Sabriyya look like? What is she thinking? How is she different than the Sabriyya we know in our time?
On the surface, she doesn't appear much different. She's only a few years younger. She's been in the desert for some time. Her skin is deeply tanned. She's garbed much like the other warriors who accompany this party to the pyramid, but she still retains some of the vestments of her holy order. Her familiar scimitar hangs at her side, and as she rides, just a small amount behind the prince, on the side nearest to Jaunt, she's having a conversation with him occasionally. The two have become very close friends. In fact, Jaunt may be the only other person in the Al-Nahuri clan who is aware that Sabriyya and Arit have a secret to share.
That's news to me. All right. So as you're riding together, having this conversation, hanging back, I imagine, a little ways from the Banu Shapir, the trio riding in front, Prince Omar himself, you do finally come upon the dig site. Now, the wasteland leading to the pyramid's rocky and sandblasted. It's littered with animal bones, small and massive, recognizable and alien. And the wind truly does howl here as it rushes between the two toothy mountains and rips through the valley. There, maybe only half a mile away, you see your destination. It's a shadowy place where your scouts have reported that the excavated ruins lie. Now, Prince Omar, in front of you, stares onward towards the pyramid, the sunlight bathing his face, his hair rippling behind him like a wave. If a painting captured his likeness in this moment, he would look quite the dashing hero. He's stopped there and he's scouting ahead. Are you, Sabriyya and Jaunt, catching up, or are you taking your time?
If he's come to a stop, I trot my horse up alongside his. So what do you make of it?
Well, I can't see quite from here, but perhaps we should take a break before riding down there. My canteen has run out of water again. Rasha, let me see your canteen. Mine must have a hole in it.
Rasha will do as asked. Dutifully hand it over.
He unscrews the canteen and drinks from it, and he drinks all of it. All at once, he just keeps drinking. Water is spilling down his face. Sweat forces his wavy long hair to cling to the back of his scalp, and he brushes it away, and he looks back down, and he says, well, I know what my plan is, but I would like to hear your plan, just in case it might change my mind.
Of course, my lord. I think it would be best to approach cautiously. I would particularly like to perhaps come at it from some higher ground. I don't like the looks of the road ahead. And Sabriyya turns back over her shoulder. Jaunt,
Yeah.
what do you think? What is the most prudent approach?
Clearly he's been distracted this whole time looking at Rasha. Yeah, no, that's great. That sounds like the best idea I've heard. Also, in the meantime, he's going to unfasten one of his water skins and slowly approach Rasha and hand her the water skin. And then wink.
Her facial expression does not change as you wink.
He slowly puts his hand back on the water skin he has left. He gets a shocked look on his face and he looks down. He's like, no, here, take this one. Give me that one back, please. Please give me that water skin back.
Why? May I ask?
You probably shouldn't ask.
No, that's fine. I'm a transparent man. It's got my toads.
Ah. Your toes.
Yeah, usually I'm not in charge of talking to people, but I would like my toads back.
I hand it back to him.
This is the one without the toads and the water.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Rasha will just unscrew it slowly. A pause to make sure there are no toads. And then take a drink if it is water. And then hand it back.
So then, I missed what we were talking about, but we ride. Is that right? Are we riding?
It is your decision, of course, my lord. I recommended perhaps an approach from higher ground, but in your wisdom, I'm sure you will lead us well.
Yes, I will. I think we should ride down from higher ground down to the place there, and you know, I don't want to hog all the glory, so I'll let someone else go first this time.
Jaunt gives a knowing look at Sabriyya.
Sabriyya, seeing the look, bows her head. Thank you, my lord. Jaunt with me. And the two begin to trot along the ridge to higher ground to make their approach.
All right. And what about the Salt Mage in Rasha? You would notice that Prince Omar stands there. He's stoic. He's looking downward. You would see some sweat beating down the side of his temple. He does not advance. He does not immediately follow.
Rasha will stay by her lord's side.
Akon would kind of unsaddle himself and drop to the ground, and instead of riding down or being perched atop the horse for maybe better view, he would get down and feel the sand itself, and not only put his hand on the surface of it, he would slip his nails, the nails that are cracked and baked a lot like the harder pack of the desert, but he'd slip it underneath the loose sand until it was up to his wrist, and he would close his eyes to see if he could sense anybody in the area. And it's just a survival check.
Yeah, make me a survival check.
I'm confused with all the big stuff on the sheet. Yeah, I know exactly what's going on. It's a weak 7. I'm not Reardon.
You hear the howling of the valley, and the sand is hot. It feels off. Something feels different, but you don't sense any presences here. You're not sure if what you're attempting to do is not working or if there's really nothing to be worried about.
He hasn't lived this long in the waste by himself, not, taking chances. So he scoops the sand, brings it up, and begins to rub it along his arms beneath his robe. And where it touches, it hardens into sheets along forearms, and he even rubs further up along his neck, and he's casting mage armor.
Prince Omar looks over at you as you go through this sort of transformation, this magic. He watches it happen, says, Ken, do you have any of that magic sand for me?
No.
All right, very well then. Let's ride. And he slowly starts to trot down the hillside, not moving very quickly, not seemingly eager to get down there, but he does start descending. I assume Rasha follows and Aken follows as well?
Aken will take a little bit longer to go down, not because he's fearing anything. He's just trying to get a better idea of how the world looks from behind this prince. He's taking in the man as much as he is. He's seen the desert before, but he always likes to see what the desert does to the weak.
And he tries to play a good game, but it's very transparent. Anytime a rock pelts him in the face, he will exhale a short gasp, sometimes even an audible he slows down and he'll cover himself and then he'll start trotting again. It's been like this for days. Now this is the worst. He's obviously more anxious now than he was before, but you've been privy to this behavior for several days now. Sabriyya and Jaunt, you're a little ways ahead, and as you approach this wasteland, moving around Bones and towards the shadowy place, the closer you get to it, the more you can see that there is an excavated dig site there. There are tools, crude tools, digging tools, lying around the site, and the upper portion of what looks to be a fairly sizable pyramid, exposed by a shadowy archway that seems to lead in. And as you get closer, it's then that you see there a small hooded dwarf. Seems to be watching you approach.
Jaunt holds his hand up, looks to Sabriyya. Huh, a dwarf. I've seen one of those before. They're bad at running long distances.
Yes, Jaunt. I've seen them as well. Rarely this far south, though.
Everyone's got a story, I suppose.
Why don't we find out what his is? We'll continue to ride toward the figure.
And Kelvin, you see them approach you. You might even see them notice you as you've been kind of watching them descend down this and approach this half-mile stretch towards you.
As they're approaching, we'll start slowly, ritually casting Unseen Servant.
And how does this materialize? How does this magic work for him?
For him, it's far more just cobbled together from whoever would teach him a spell. So, many different languages pending upon the spell. In this case, this one's in common. Come to me, ephemeral thing. I have use of you. Come. Be quiet. Be helpful. Right now, we need a friend. Arise, spirit. Arise.
The buzzing of the flies grows louder, and around you for a moment, the sand kicks up and swirls. And as it falls to your right, just barely out of the corner of your eye, you can see a humanoid shape, only covered by sand. And then the sand falls off of the shape, and you feel the presence of your servant.
Excellent, friend. We have individuals to impress. Greetings and salutations, travelers.
Greetings, dwarf. What do they call you?
Oh, introductions, yes. I am Kelvin, fifth of his name of the clan Stone Warden. Perseverance and wisdom to you.
Is it fine if I just call you Kelvin?
Most people who are friendly do.
Huh. Kelvin, I am John Tadesh of the Al-Nuhuri.
Ah, well, the local tribes. I see you've taken interest in the dig.
We have.
And I'm Sabriyya Sunashal, warrior priestess of Sirion.
Huh. Well, wisdom to you, priestess.
What brings you to this strange place, Kelvin?
I, well, frequent a number of different traveling performers, and they have some very tall tales. One was about a particular queen that once lived here, and this apparently is her tomb. I was figuring something as much as of a prize and curiosity wouldn't help but draw some folks to it. I want to be of use, maybe for some loose coin. I can definitely lend a hand bearing decent labor. Plus, I have a way with the arcane. So, a little bit of use. A little bit of use.
Away with the arcane.
Yes. Do you wish to dismount for your gear, or do you need a camp set up? And just gestures, and the unseen servant starts knowingly cleaning off space on the stone.
Well, isn't that neat?
It's at this point for the rest of our group that Prince Omar and his two companions catch up with the others, and Omar gallops up and pulls his horse to the side and looks down at the dwarf, and he says, "Hello.
Greetings and salutations.
Are you the guardian here?"
Guardian? Oh, no, no, no. There are far more foul things afoot. Look down there.
Prince Omar looks down to the statue, and again, you would all see this now too. This statue is twice the height of any man, and there's a pack of wild dogs around it. Something is happening that Kelvin would not have seen before. As the party is approached and all gathered here at the top of this dig site, the dogs begin to bark wildly at each other, begin to nip and bite at each other. It looks like roughhousing at first, but it's getting increasingly violent.
I would say the Guardians are past them. But a gallant man such as yourself won't let something so small stand in his way.
Well, yes, but I've learned from my father, the Sultan, that it's best not to do everything yourself and to instead let others prove their mettle.
Oh, I see. Well, in that case, looking over to Jaunt, Sabriyya, some of the others, a few rogue hounds should not be of any particular problem, but I'm fairly certain there are fouler things inside. But there is probably coin, gold, artifacts, things of import. I would suggest that we make haste, as the sky is looking ill.
What sort of fowler things? Just so we're all well prepared.
Oh, you don't know the history, do you? Well, let me tell you a story. In these shifting sands, there was a great queen. In an age of men, beast, and gnolls, she ruled over them all. She was a foul thing herself, and held with an iron grasp this kingdom. That, down there, my gallant prince, is her tomb.
Yes, well, everyone knows that story. Of course, any learned man knows that story. But I'm glad that you know it too. And how should we proceed?
Carefully. I would suggest making a camp quickly up here. That way, you and your retainers can make solid camp for those who will be venturing inside. Just make sure it's easily broken up. We may need to run.
Well, yes, well, I'll get started on the camp, and perhaps you can all take a look around, and everyone roll me a perception check at this point, except for Arcana and Kelvin. You can roll me Arcana checks.
Solid 9 from Jaunt.
That seems about on brand for Jaunt.
Only a 7 from Sabriyya.
15 Arcana.
And
Break
16
on.
perception.
Rasha, you feel your eyes during this conversation drawn back to that statue, to the buzzing flies circling around its head, to the pack of wild dogs, and you're the first one to witness what was strange, aggressive behavior, dog against dog, becomes something far greater. You watch this pack of dogs begin to rip each other's throats out with their maws. You hear the whimpers of the dying ones. You see them begin to devour each other, even the wounded ones, until they finally breathe their last wheezing breath, are still eating. And Akan and Kelvin, you'll witness this a few moments after Rasha, but you get the sense of something behind that, and that is that there is something dark in the earth. There's something tainted here, and it's obviously in your minds driven these animals mad.
Can we notice it in each other? Can we notice that the two of us notice?
Absolutely.
Then Akon would look over, and just the weathered lines would crack as his eyes would narrow as he regards Kelvin. And then he would look back upon the pack.
Jaunt would like to approach Rasha, give her a side eye. Survival of the fittest. How romantic. If that's your thing. If that's not your thing, then it's maybe not romantic.
Just looks at him.
I'll take that as a maybe.
It seems the numbers of dogs we'll have to pass have narrowed down by quite a bit.
Yes, that means she's waking up. I hope your swords are sharp.
So we're standing all outside this dig site. It's about 50 feet to the entrance to the temple. Prince Omar is doing a very good job of setting up camp. This is something that he knows how to do, and he doesn't do it quickly, but he does it with a lot of attention to detail. When a flap of a tent doesn't quite look right, he takes extra time to straighten it out and fasten it down. He doesn't even seem to notice what's happening with the dogs.
I suppose we can count this as one of his many skills that we will learn about here in moments.
I turn to Jaunt.
Oh.
That's enough.
Sometimes honesty is good.
This is not one of those times, my friend.
Understood.
Overhearing, tact is much of a weapon as an insult.
And often much sharper.
Oh no, it's blunt. It's meant for going through armor.
You're quite the clever one, aren't you, Kelvin?
Clever? No. Clever are those who aren't here. I'm an opportunist.
And an entertainer, perhaps. You're making quite a show of all of this. It is only a tomb, after all. Are you really nothing more than a tomb raider with a sense of humor?
Oh, nothing more. That would mean my story is very short. No. No. Every interaction is combat, conflict, and a story. The important part is knowing your role. Mine is the one that survives. The prince is the one who dutifully goes on to rule over his people. I have yet to figure out the rest of yours.
I think I have the tent set up. I'll get started on the second one. Would you, perhaps while I'm doing this, you would like to take a look at the pyramid and make sure it's secure?
Yes, of course, my lord.
I'll be right behind you.
Excellent, my lord.
Rasha, do you have any water? I think my water skin sprung a leak.
I do not have much left, my lord.
How much is not much?
She will dutifully hand over what is left of that canteen.
Don't worry, I'll save you some. And he unscrews it, drinks a good deal of it, and when he hands it back, you would say there's like a third of what was in there before is left.
You're more than gracious, my lord.
Only the best for my Rasha. Thank you. Oh, I can't wait until this adventure is over and we go back. Will you be at my wedding, Rasha? I hope you will.
I have been assigned by your father to stay by your side. So, of course.
It's going to be a fantastic affair. I can just imagine my bride now. Oh, have you seen her? Rita Nahuri? The stories do not do her justice.
Of course, my lord.
I am a bit of an entertainer. Perhaps you would like some entertainment, my prince.
Now, is that appropriate? And he looks to Sabriyya as though asking permission.
My lord, I think it would be best if we at least secured the entrance to the tomb. One wonders what might come out of it. More dogs, perhaps.
Yes, I had the same thought just a few minutes ago. So we should do that. And I'll finish here with the tents and then I'll join you.
Very well. Perhaps the mage could join us. He may have some knowledge that would be helpful.
Very well.
The first words I've heard out of you in a day, I think, Akan.
Nothing interesting was happening.
Very well, then. Jaunt Akan 3.
Let us ride.
I
Or
would
walk.
suggest walking.
It is only about 50 feet down, and it's a gentle slope. It's not too far at all.
You don't want the horses to run over something foul. I'm guessing you have a long trek back.
Jaunt looks over at Rasha. Oh, excellent. I'm also a fan of gentle slopes. Jaunt dismounts his horse, gets his longbow, puts it over his shoulders, and starts proudly walking towards the base of the tomb.
And at this point, Sabriyya simply cannot resist. My lord, it would be helpful, perhaps prudent even, if we had a bit more strength for this reconnaissance. Your Rasha, perhaps, could join us.
Well, Rasha is almost as great of a warrior as I am, but I should stick with the tents. And Rasha, please, but if you hear me yelling, just run back, very quickly.
Oh, my prince, I can leave you with some help.
You can.
Yes. My friend here, have it whip up a little bit of a whirlwind so it can be seen, will aid you in pulling up the rest of the camp. It knows how.
Oh, well, thank you for that.
And should something ill show up, it may slow it down for a little bit, give you a 5-second head start.
Well, I am fine of leg, and yes, I appreciate your help. And like I said, I will be right behind you. So, good luck.
Of course, my lord. I will turn and join the rest of the group. Try not to show my relief at this.
As you descend the hill towards the statue and towards the opening to the pyramid itself, you can see, if you were to glance behind you, Prince Omar very slowly attending to his chores, even as he's being helped out, I imagine, by this invisible servant, which sometimes scares him. You'll see him jump at times, but he's moving much slower than he needs to at his task. But you all of you do approach this pyramid, and you can see a great archway that leads to an upper level. It's covered in shadow. You can't really see into it. Do any of you have more than 60 feet of dark vision? Roll me a perception check.
Jaunt got a 12.
I do have 60 feet of dark vision. Is that still just regular perception?
That's good all the way around, except for Jaunt. But Pope, with Kelvin's natural 20 and Sabriyya with your 22, even though you can't see, you can hear what sounds like footsteps over sand, over stone, just a few of them. And you can hear a sort of quiet snarl as you approach this entrance.
I draw my first scimitar. Kelvin, have you been inside yet?
No, I was waiting for company.
Well, you may have more than you bargained for here.
Oh, I have probably just the right amount. I think her attendants are waking up. You said there was a wedding. How fortuitous. It seems that the sky is right for momentous events.
Indeed.
And
Go ahead.
it's at this moment that you see the shapes of three figures step out from the shadows. And they're each holding a khopesh, curved blade, with a javelin slung over their shoulder. And as they step forward, their humanoid bodies show the heads of jackals. You recognize these to be of the band of the horde of gnolls that has been hunting the shifting sands for some time. It's only three of them, and they're snarling. They're on guard. They're sneaking towards you, but they haven't exploded yet. They haven't rushed you yet. And I'm going to let you all choose what to do here. If you decide to engage, I'll give Sabriyya and Kelvin advantage on their initiative roll for their 20 plus perceptions.
Yes, I will be engaging immediately.
I thought you might.
Tally ho then.
Roll me initiative. Everyone an advantage for, again, Kelvin and Sabriyya.
Oh,
John's got a 14.
15 for Sabriyya.
All
Natural
right.
20. Just a 20. Dirty 20.
20.
John. 20 for Pope. And 24. What did I miss Kiana? No, 11. I see ya.
Yeah.
All right. All right. While Prince Omar continues to build camp just some 50 feet away, these three gnolls, not many of them, are beginning to encroach upon you. They have not rushed you yet. They each wield a khopesh, but it is Akan and then Kelvin that will be going first.
Akan will... Have they emerged from the tunnel yet?
You can just see their shapes. You can just make out their snouts where the light meets the shadow.
And how far away did you say they were? Because they're just coming out of the tunnel, right? Like you say?
Yeah, you've already descended the slope, so I mean they're only like 20 feet away from you at this point.
Okay.
They're snorting.
He is going to pull quickly from one of his many pouches just a sprinkle of salt that he immediately charges, and it takes to flame, glowing in a green and a blue and an orange, and he scatters it towards them, and he is going to cast Create Bonfire right at the mouth of the cave where the tunnel where they're coming out. It is a dex save of 13, and if they're caught inside, it's a D8 for each of them.
Excellent. And does it say at the start of their turn or immediately?
When I cast the spell, must succeed or take the damage. And if they're still
All
there
right.
by the end of their turn, they take it again.
Two of them immediately, as the fire springs up, jump forward, their hands and their feet slamming onto all fours onto the sand outside of the pyramid. One of them is caught in the fire.
4 fire.
4 fire damage. All right. And what else is Akan doing?
He is going to use his movement to drop well behind the fighters, but knowing what gnolls can do, his dark vision's in place, so he's going to turn and make sure there's nothing coming from the sides, from back the way that buffoon is, or he figure he'll hear the screams for him. But he's just keeping kind of a horseshoe view around where the entrance to the tunnel is.
All right, go ahead and roll me a perception check. And Kelvin, it's your turn.
Fort! And casting Mage Armor on myself. Drawing dagger. And moving off to the side of where the fire is, because if they're going to move closer, it means someone else is going to engage them.
Excellent. And with a 20, as you're watching, you don't immediately see any more approaching, but with a 20, if more approach, I'll let you know. So as Kelvin moves off to the side, kind of positioning so that he's not in the immediate charge, it's the first of those gnolls, those jackal-headed creatures that springs forward. This is one of the ones that jumped out of the way of the fire. And the first thing it does is it reaches over its back and it grabs a javelin from over its shoulder. It lunges it straight forward, throwing it through the air at Jaunt. And that's going to be a 24.
Oh, that definitely hits.
So the javelin strikes you, cutting into your thigh and thunking into the rocky ground. 6 piercing damage. Afterwards, with its multi-attack, it uses a leaping bite and it springs forward at you, gnashing with its teeth, again at Jaunt. This one's going to be a 13.
That is a miss.
As it does that,
Yep,
is it assuming within 10 feet of me?
absolutely.
May I take a opportunity attack?
Do you have the sentinel feat?
I have, polearm. Other creature to provoke an opportunity attack when they enter my reach.
Yes, do it.
Oh god, that is a nat 1.
Oh.
It's going so well, guys.
As you bring your glaive across and it goes over the jackal creature's head, the gnoll turns after missing its gnash at Jaunt, and it still has its Kopesh in its offhand, and because you got a natural 1, I'm going to let it use its reaction to attack you back. And Kiana, that's going to be a 19.
I believe that hits.
It slashes at your side for 6 slashing damage, cutting into you. That's the end of its turn. Next, it's Prince Omar's turn, and at this point, he's actually noticed what's going on. He's dropped his tent. He's put down his tools, and he's calling down from the top of the excavation site. Rasha, have you seen my bow? My bow. I can't seem to find it. I can't remember what bag I packed it in. Don't worry, I'll be there to help you in about 6 seconds. And he turns around and starts fishing through a couple of sacks. Meanwhile, Sabriyya, it's your turn.
Sabriyya sees the attack coming and holds her scimitar out to in a defensive posture, but reaches up to the pendant that she wears and grasps it in her hands. Sabriyya's spells, the verbal components are always uttered in a whisper. And so she whispers some incantation under her breath. And this is that warding flare that I tripped on, or word of radiance rather, that I tripped on a little bit earlier.
Excellent.
So this is a con save for all 3 of them.
All right. So the one that has already leaped forward and attacked gets a natural 20. The other 2, we have a 4 and a 7, and I'm betting both of those fail.
Yes, they do, in fact. Oh. That's terrible. Yeah, so that's 1 damage for each one.
One of them, the one that also got burned by Akhen's fire, seems to be a little skittering, pulling back slightly into the tunnel, at least for the moment. But the other one doesn't seem deterred. And is there anything else Sabriyya is doing at the end of her turn?
Sabriyya is. I cast a glance back to Jaunt. How far is he away from the from the closest of the gnolls at this point?
There is one gnoll who has rushed forward and attacked Jaunt and Rasha, and it's kind of positioned between the two right now.
Okay. I'm going to kind of close on that one so that I'm within range to engage with a melee attack next round.
As you are able to circle around at this point, you guys are in such a position that you are all kind of flanking it. You would all have advantage next round against it with melee attacks. All right.
That's all.
Jaunt, it's your turn now.
Jaunt is going to reach his hand down his belt and pull up 2 tiny glass vials that are strung together like a very small bola, and throw it at the nearest at the gnoll that's between us. The spell is frostbite, but it's going to be the chemical reaction of various salts as it makes impact. And he has to make a Constitution saving throw.
It's going to be a 20.
Okay. Yeah, that would work. That would succeed. So nothing happens.
So this gnoll seems to be growing more and more feral. Its drool is pouring out of the corner of its mouth. Its eyes are wild. You've fought feral gnolls before. This one, it seems as every second passes to be growing wilder. And it does not seem affected by your alchemical reaction at the moment. And with that, the other, is he moving away? Is he staying there engaged?
I will stay engaged.
The other 2 gnolls have their turn. One of them moves back into the tunnel, the one that's been wounded and kind of scared off, and disappears into the darkness. The other one also pulls its javelin out and throws it up. Is that
the tunnel? There's a fire still in the tunnel. So
yeah.
Did he go back through it, or?
This is the one you burned.
So he never came out? He just...
That's right. Does he take more damage?
If he stayed in it and then retreated, but if he's just was in it and then left, no, it'll be D8. Okay. I'm sorry. I'll shut up now.
Yeah, the fire burst up, and that and Sabriyya's magic pushed him back, and he skittered down into the tunnel. The other one, the one that jumped forward, pulls his javelin out. He throws it at Sabriyya this time, and then lunges forward. The javelin's going to be a 10.
Miss.
He will spring off of his back feet and gnash at Sabriyya with his fang.
On that attack, I will use Warding Flare to give him disadvantage.
Disadvantage. And
yeah, sorry, bad one, but it is Warding Flare, I think, yeah.
So that'll be, instead of a 17, that's an 8. So he's blinded by the light for a moment, and he seems a little stunned. He actually kind of cowers for a half second before you. That's the end of their turn. Rasha, now it's your turn.
Oh, goody. There's that one right in front of me. I would like to attack it. Mugwave, do I still get flanking?
You still have flanking. You still have advantage.
Now say dirty 20.
That will hit.
I got to reroll that 1. Because I have great weapon fighting. 10 points of damage. And this guy...
Is that 10 or is that 13?
It's 13 altogether.
So how is this counterattack coming?
So after this thing just stabbed me, essentially, I whip the glaive back around and I just do a swooping arc as I slash into this creature.
as you bring the blade across, it catches it in its neck. You feel the fur rip out of its body with its flesh, and it's holding one clawed hand. It drops its khopesh. It's holding one clawed hand to its throat, gagging, gurgling, and it's still up, but it's starting to fade.
If it's still up, I'm going to swing the glaive back around and use the butt end and hit into it with my prolonged
Absolutely.
mastery.
And that's a hit.
More, 5 points of damage.
And as you bring this blade down, the butt of the blade down, you catch it square between the two eyes, and you can hear the crunch of skull. You can see its eyes wild one moment, dull the next, as you actually have to kind of pull the haft of your glaive out of it before it thumps into the sand and is still.
Yeah, and you hear the jingle of the trinkets as she writes it back up.
Jaunt looks over and then says, "Ooh, looks do kill."
Other things will kill you first if you don't get started on your fighting.
Oh, is that what we're doing now?
The female of the species is usually deadlier.
At this point, Ken, we're back up to the top of the initiative, followed by Kelvin.
Okay, so the one that sustained damage, Akan will just pull forth what looks like a desert flower, and he will take it and move it for a moment, running his finger along the outside or the lip of this blossoming flower. It's only then revealed to be a bit of ceramic or metal, and it makes almost as if it were a glass with a certain amount of liquid goes around, and he tolls the dead on one of them.
Oh, yes. This is a Constitution save, right?
Yeah.
All right, so that's an 8.
Yeah, that's not
And
going
this
to work.
one's already slightly wounded.
So it's going to be a D12 on them.
Mm-hmm. This is the one that has taken 1 point of radiant damage so far, so it does qualify for Toll of the Dead.
3.
All right. So the gnoll doesn't seem deterred by your spell. If anything, as it's moving forward, this is the one that's on Sabriyya. It's beginning to gnash wildly, and for a moment, Aken, you and Kelvin get that same sense that there's something in the ground, there's something in the earth, and it's affecting this creature. Is there anything else on your turn?
He's just maintaining that wonderful bubble of letting the fighters do their thing and keeping an eye on their surroundings, and Kelvin.
All right. Kelvin, you're up.
Slip around so I'm flanking with Sabriyya. And then I'm going to try and stab this gnoll. So,
All right. With flanking, that's definitely advantage as well. And the 13 would not have done it, but with the 18, as you flank, you do manage to get your attack. So how do you go about stabbing this guy?
the deadly thing about dwarves is size difference. So most people don't usually have armor too low. So slip behind and then just reach between the legs and drag the dagger.
Roll that damage.
Oops, that's not the damage.
I think if you click on the dagger, the word that says dagger, it'll just
Okay.
automatically do it for you.
No.
Oh, so at the bottom here,
In the
where it's
chat box.
+4, yeah, just click on the word dagger.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's sweet.
And then a d6 for
Sneak attack. Yeah, that's nice.
Roll 20. How you foil me?
Oh. I can roll this one for you.
Please do. Well,
Sorry, I shouldn't have said that. I'm the worst.
You never
Hey!
let. I'll do it. I got it from now on. Just I was doing the other stuff. I got it. Never let him roll. How many?
That's
was
okay.
It?
It was 1d6. No, 10 damage actually is enough, and you hear a high-pitched squeal, a high-pitched whimper as you run this blade underneath, and basically neuter this gnoll. And he's starting to scimper away, starting to patter away from the pyramid, away from the group. Sabriyya, you are able to take an attack of opportunity if you want.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
That will be a scimitar attack.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. 18.
18 will be a hit.
For 8 slashing damage. The radiant doesn't count here.
All right, and I should have asked Kelvin too. Did he have anything else after he attacks? Is he staying there?
Staying put.
Okay. So you cut into the back of this gnoll as it's skimpering away, and it's like crawling on the ground. It rolls over onto its back. It's at this point that Prince Omar appears at the top of this excavation site. He's got his bow in hand. He's like, "Don't worry, Rasha, I found it. It was in my bag all along. I was checking your bags." And shoots a perfect shot straight through the heart of this gnoll. Sabriyya and Kelvin, you're half sure that the gnoll was already dead when it hit the ground, but he still plunks it right in. He's like, "Oh, well, I'm glad that we could all work together on this. Please take note, that was my shot. When we're writing the story of this later, that was my shot."
Of course.
You've demonstrated your skill once again, my lord.
Well, I hate to say this, but when I was looking for my bow, I twisted my ankle, and I think that I'm going to stay here and guard the camp, and you should all proceed without me. I don't want to slow you down.
If that is what you wish, my lord, then of course.
Oh, Rasha, I mean, you could stay with me, Rasha, if you...
I believe my duty is to both execute your orders and to protect you. It is up to you. You are the deciding factor, my lord.
Well, I mean, I can take care of myself. I'm very capable. Yes, Rasha, I order you to... now you are in charge of the expedition, going forward.
Jaunt looks over at Sabriyya, but who's going to protect him from all of the sand?
That's enough, Jaunt.
Oh, I thought that was quiet.
He doesn't seem to have heard you.
There's a little smile tugs up the corner of Rasha's lips as she hears it. Just rest, my lord, and I will lead the expedition as you wish.
Very good. I'm sure you'll do me proud, and I'll be right out here. So if you need me, well, I'll be here.
Of course. And turn to the other says, "Shall we proceed?"
By all means, let's see where the other one ran off to.
We will delve a little deeper.
All right.
As we go, I sidle past Akan. That was quite impressive.
It was fire.
nothing impressive about fire.
I wouldn't be so sure if I were you.
I am sure. It is just fire.
All right, then. Sort of pat him on the shoulder as I walk by and head up toward Rasha.
He walks off muttering,
Nothing interesting at all.
As Sabriyya walks up, I am not much of a leader myself. I am more than happy to go with what the party had decided. Although I am now tasked with leadership of the expedition, that means I can pass on responsibilities to others as they wish.
Is this a practice of your tribe, Rasha? I seem to see it with some frequency. The delegation of tasks like this one to subordinates.
I do not see you as subordinates. I hope I do not come across that way. I just simply feel as though me taking charge all of a sudden may come as a little bit of a hostile move from the tribe. But if you wish me to lead forward, I will.
I'm sorry. I that was wrong of me. Let's go together.
Rasha, might I say, that glaive that you have, I saw your skill. You are quite excellent with the shaft.
Bacon walks by and whispers, "She's going to kill you."
And so we proceed into the pyramid, into the shadowy hallway. Are we using any sort of light, or is anyone using natural light or magical light?
As we enter into the sort of the twilight of the tunnel, Sabriyya's unsheathed scimitar begins to glow with a yellow light.
And that dim glow is enough to show the way forward. What you find when you step inside is that after a sharp turn to the left, just 15 feet or so through the shadow, you are at the start of a long 30-foot corridor. This is a not lit corridor with stone on all sides that looks the same except for on the left side, where that stone is painted or carved by different murals. The murals here on the first hall, they seem to tell the story of a group of gnolls running wildly through a lush valley. This is through paintings and carvings. These gnolls are more like the ones you've seen in other places or at other times in the desert. On the right side of the wall, there's nothing but smooth stone. About 30 feet in, the hall takes a sharp left and continues onward.
Careful with your steps.
Perhaps the salt mage has some insight into these carvings. Akan?
Is there a defined iconography or language that is apparent in the carvings? Don.
Roll me a religion check.
A religion, you say? "13."
It looks old. What's most striking is that although there is language, there is some sort of iconography that seems to be the predecessor of modern written language. The images themselves are pretty detailed for murals that are that old. That the images themselves seem to be telling a story. Whatever the language is, the story you believe here is just exactly what you see. A great many gnolls as you walk down this hallway and look down this hallway, running through a lush valley, trees over hills. That's kind of what you see here. The mural does seem to stretch around the corner as you progress.
He would turn to Sabriyya.
Given a few moments, I could decipher it more if there is some type of lesson to be learned or warning to be given.
I'm a bit concerned for what traps might be present here.
If you're just worried about traps, I can take a look.
By all means, please.
All right. Just hold that scimitar high.
He'll begin ritualistically casting comprehend languages too. If he gets interrupted, so be it.
I'd like to use that dwarven stone cunning.
Absolutely. So roll me, if you're checking for traps, let's call it, let's see what you have here. You can give me perception. You could give me, let's see. I would also take survival in this situation.
They're both the same, so perception it is.
Can I make this roll as well?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
16.
So as you're checking around, there's not much here. It's old, it's smooth stone. You will notice that on the right side, instead of a mural, there's a horizontal indentation on the wall, maybe like half an inch thick or so. It runs the full length of the wall and also turns as the wall turns and the corridor turns left.
How far up the wall from the floor?
About shoulder height.
Yeah.
All right, then.
Akon would be over, staring at the mural with the iconography, as he takes salt and like rubs it on his teeth every once in a while, as he's just delving in.
Roll me a charisma saving throw.
Well, see, this is where I would like to use my magical portent. No, I'm like...
Go ahead and roll it. I'm going to use my advantage, though.
You use your inspiration?
Inspiration for advantage, because it was given to me by Benevolent Legion of Chat, and I like to use that stuff. So, chat, thank you for the nat 1 to a 19. Legion got my back all the time.
You hear a voice, even as you're trying to comprehend the language, trying to tell the story, all that you can tell is there's more story to be seen, to be learned, that the story is told through the picture itself. And that, from what you can tell, despite the surprising amount of detail for a gnollish mural, that there's not a lot of imagination in terms of how they tell this story. It's very, very, this is what happened. This is That's sort of how it's laid out. But you do feel something pull at your chest as you're honing in and focusing your energy and your magic on this. And you, for a moment, are at the end of this hall, 3 turns down before a wall, a door, and you see a gnoll scratching for a brief moment at that wall, at that door. And you recognize, because of the burns on its fur, this is the gnoll that skittered away from you and further into the hall. And then you're back.
You burned gnolls up ahead. There's something in the stone. In the ground. And he looks at Kelvin.
She's waking up. She's waking up.
At this, Sabriyya begins to step toward that corner and peer around and see what is waiting down the next stretch of hall.
Jaunt takes an arrow, knocks it in the bow, and has it at the ready.
By the light of your scimitar, you are able to peer forward, and you see, much like the hall you're in now, that when it takes a sharp turn left, there's another hall, also about maybe 60 feet long. And there are murals down the left side of this hall as well.
Continue walking slowly, occasionally pausing to look at the murals, but moving toward the far corner and ushering the others to come to join me.
Is anyone hanging back, or is everyone keeping up with her?
Jaunt is keeping up. Jaunt is by her side.
Keeping up, but just a couple of paces back.
Yes.
Sabriyya and Rasha is keeping up as well?
Yeah, I'd imagine so.
Sabriyya, at the head of this group, you with the one with the light, you can see as you're glancing aside to these murals that they show, like the legend that was sort of hinted at by Kelvin, gnolls and humans coexisting in this valley. And again, you see amongst them a jackal-headed queen wearing a crown and fine robes, depicted in more detail than any of the other figures in this particular series of murals. And one particularly striking mural painting shows a human woman and a gnoll kneeling before this queen, this figure, their heads bowed reverently. And the queen's palms are placed on each of their foreheads. And her mouth is open. And what seems to be the sort of religious iconography that, Sabriyya, you would be particularly used to seeing with different gods, what strikes you as different in this particular case is that it's her smile, wide, too many teeth, too feral. And that's at the end of this stretch.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if I can draw upon my knowledge of religion to make any kind of determination about this godlike figure and what its divinity or its powers might be.
Absolutely. Roll me a religion check.
Mighty.
It's strange. This is not... I mean, it looks like something cultish, right? It looks like something so obscure that that you have never personally encountered it. And you feel like you don't know enough yet to sort of determine what this god is.
I'll continue to the next turn and cautiously peer around the corner.
This one also, more murals. These ones depict, as you are moving around the corner, two different events. One depicted through a series of paintings up high, one through a series of paintings lower on that same left wall. And the events are depicted over and over again. In the high up series, you see many gnolls, but the further you walk down the hall, your light from your scimitar shining on them, you see fewer and fewer of the feline hyena-esque gnolls, and more gnolls that look more like the queen herself with a canine jackal head. Whereas on the lower series, you see the slow progress of a large host of humans. These humans are painted as building a structure, and as you progress further down the hall, you realize that the structure is the pyramid that they're building. And the greater that the pyramid becomes, the closer they come to finishing it in this progression of paintings, the fewer humans there are working on it. And then there's one final turn to the left.
With a quick glance behind me to see the others, and that they've all still there. Of course, Jaunt, I know, is right next to me, but I'll peer around the final corner. We've been descending this whole time, right?
It's a slow slope downward, but you can tell that it is slowly moving downward and around and downward and around. Mm-hmm. And what you imagine is the outer edges of this pyramid.
All right.
Is anyone else doing anything in particular? Are you all following along?
Only if there's some actual written stuff, because he would still have comprehend languages up for about an hour. Yeah, he'd have it up for an hour. So if he sees something, a title or a warning, a signpost.
Nothing yet. Just painting, just murals up to this point. As you turn the last corner, you see scratching weakly against a wall. Just 10 feet away from you, the burnt gnoll, the one that fled into the tunnel.
Has it seen me yet?
No. And it's on the ground, scratching at it, like at the bottom of this wall.
Would you like me to end it?
Yeah, I look to Jaunt.
Wait. Akon is going to cast Minor Illusion in the shadows, and he's going to make it look like the queen from the paintings. And he is going to have it beckon and like kind of press against the door to see if there's something, gain some type of insight or reaction from this thing than just this weak scratching. If there's some key to opening it, just going to gesture towards the door.
So is this illusion of the queen trying to convince the gnoll to do something, or is that what's going on?
It's pointing to open the door. Like,
you see the gnoll look over its shoulder, and for a moment its eyes go wide, and it bows its head, and then with its snout it smells, and you know immediately, Aken, that it realizes that this isn't real. And as it does, your illusion fades. I'm guessing, do you have let's see, this is an 18 versus your spell save.
Oh, yeah.
And it sees Sabriyya and Jaunt, but I will give you guys the first chance to act here.
Yes, no. So my shit is drawn, and I'm going to loose an arrow right at
Do it. Yeah, it's a hit.
It sure is. 10 piercing damage.
It snarls and starts to move towards you, starts to reach over its shoulder, and then your arrow strikes it in the chest. It pins it back against the wall, and it slides down this dead end, essentially. And it's not dead yet. It's like snapping out of the corner of its mouth, breathing raggedly, or stretching slowly towards Sabriyya, who's still kind of standing out front with her sword. Can't quite reach your robes, but it seems like it's snatching at your robes, Sabriyya. And you hear it speak. You'll never reach our brothers in time.
In time for what, beast? I hold the scimitar to its throat.
Do you want to know a secret, sun-haired witch?
Speak it.
Times have been hard. The queen is hungry, and so are we. But we will devour you so slowly. Start with your feet. Work our way up. Relish every bite, and I will make you last a long, long time. And as it speaks, its neck is pushing against your blade. You can actually feel your scimitar cutting into its flesh.
I end it.
As the light fades from its eyes, you see something you saw in the mural. Less teeth, but still a mad, wide, drooling smile. And then it's gone.
Story's becoming clearer, priestess. You're the protagonist.
I wonder where we go from here.
Down.
You have some way with stone, then? It appears to be a dead end.
You're asking a dwarf in a stone-built temple if he has a way down.
That's exactly what I'm asking.
Okay. Apparently your god's very blunt. And Kelvin will just waddle up to the door.
And you'll see here that it's not a door so much as a single large mural at this back end of the hall. And at this dead end, this painting shows a larger version of the pyramid finished. At the base of the pyramid, a horde of the jackal-headed gnolls are devouring the bodies of the human workers. Of all of the carvings and paintings in this corridor that you've seen, this is by far the one with the most detail. Every gnoll and every human that it feasts on is rendered with a grotesque realism. It must have taken so much passion, so much time, months, maybe longer, maybe years, to have drawn and painted this particular mural.
In that case, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Tell me where the blood should go. Let me sink this into the knoll. And old rogue's trick. Tip down, dragging along the edges. Where is the clicking noise. Let's play the game.
Roll me an investigation check.
I will use my advantage on this.
This is a good time to do it. All right. So with a 14, you will find a small indentation at the base in the center of the pyramid, and you believe you could slide your dagger into it.
Click.
As you push the blade into the relief, you do hear a click, and from the bottom up, with a rumbling, the wall begins to pull upward. It's very, very slowly, a centimeter at a time. Everyone can roll me a perception check.
$17 for Junt.
13 for Sabriyya.
19.
And a 19. Jaunt and Kelvin, you hear, and it's from behind you too. Bzzz. You can't be sure if it's the flies or something else, but it sounds like a buzzing. Meanwhile, Kelvin, you will also notice that as you click this relief and pull your blade out and the wall begins to rise, a small panel at the top of the ceiling pulls outward, and you can see something swinging down, something bladed out of the slot in the ceiling. And I will let you make your dexterity saving throw with advantage. Funny is good enough. The hook flies out of the ceiling, held on a long weighted chain, and you are able to pull and dive yourself out of the way. It goes flying past you. It almost catches Sabriyya in the cheek. It's so long, and then it flies backwards and slams into the wall as the wall continues to rise.
You move quickly for a dwarf.
As I said, I'm a great disappointment.
Is anyone doing anything in particular right now as you're waiting for this door, this wall to kind of pull up? It's not big enough yet that you could squeeze underneath.
I'm kind of concerned about the buzzing noise. I have a feeling it's related to our fly friends upstairs. And jackals are usually connotated with death, scavenging. So, priestess, what's your expertise on death gods? Because I think we're dealing with elements of that.
I think you're right. Is the buzzing apparent to all of us at this point?
Yeah, it's getting much louder. Like, if you want to do something, now's the time.
And it's coming from behind.
Sure is.
Can I cast a bonfire, like, to cover the tunnel behind us?
Absolutely, like right in the corner there, as it turns around the bend.
Yes.
Absolutely.
He'll turn and, again, spin and snap the salt out just to make some type of buffer.
Actually, as he does that, once the bonfire is lit, I'm going to use prestidigitation to make the bonfire smell like incense, funerary. It might appease them.
It does, and it because of the way the wind is moving through the tunnel, you all smell it too as it wafts down towards this dead end as the wall rises. Is anyone else doing anything immediately?
I'm preparing burning hands to flame blast that end of the tunnel if they make it through somehow.
All right.
Jaunt is going to knock an arrow.
Akon is going to say, "What have you done to my fire? Why does it smell?"
It smells because that's how they want it to smell.
It's not how I want it to smell.
Rasha, roll me a perception check.
I'm gonna use an inspiration on this.
All right.
A 15.
That does help. You'll notice as this banter is going on and the buzzing is getting louder, the fire starts at the end of the hall. The wall behind you, the one that's rumbling and rising, it's risen enough that you think that two people could squeeze through right now very quickly. But you have just a moment.
Yeah. Be like, well, perhaps we should get through before they get to us. And she will start to clamber under. She has no magic. She can't help with flies, so she's gonna get through
She's
the other
gonna go.
Mhm.
All right.
Let me follow you, Rasha, just in case. It is dark.
So John and Rasha climb beneath this wall. You'll notice the slope becomes significantly steeper as soon as you get through, and you think that if you pull your body all the way through, you'll pretty much just start sliding downward. Meanwhile, at the edge of the hall where it bends, where the fire is, that buzzing is louder and louder and louder, and it isn't flies that comes across. It's a saw blade coming out of the wall, the indentation, shoulder height, the full width of the tunnel, and it in a moment turns the corner and comes straight at you. It moves through the fire undeterred. Well, go ahead and roll me fire damage. Let's see if it beats it up a little bit.
Okay.
Oh, for the bonfire.
That 4 will surely stop it.
It doesn't. And it comes at the lot of you. Now, Sabriyya, because you noticed the indentations before, I'm going to give you advantage on your dexterity save here. But the rest of you all need to and Rasha and John, you're underneath. You're safe from this. I need everybody else to make me dexterity saving throws, as this seems to be picking up speed.
Man.
Okay, Dawn, this is where I use my Wizard's Portent. I've seen this coming. And in the readings that Akon did, he dives back, and I'm going to burn my 18 that I rolled and gave you earlier.
All right, yep, and you did roll an 18. I saw it. It happened. Are you using it for yourself? Is that right?
Yes.
And so perhaps because Kelvin is a little smaller and has already dodged one thing, he's kind of on his feet. He's able to get underneath of this saw blade, basically. And it's the same for Akon as this thing comes spinning around, buzzing around, sticking out of this indentation in the wall. Sabriyya, even though you noticed this indentation before, it still catches you. You're not able to get out of the way entirely, and as it cuts and rends into your left arm, 13 slashing damage.
Ow.
Jaunt and Rasha, you're in first. You actually been able to make it through. You can start sliding down, but you will both notice that as you climb through, this wall that was rising has stopped, and now it's beginning to lower. Jaunt, you're not all the way through yet. You can try to pull through. You can do whatever you want here.
Yeah, I'm going to try to pull through.
All right, you can do so. It's closing behind you.
Friends, hurry up. The door's closing. He's going to shout through the other side to his comrades.
We can hear that?
Oh, yeah. It's not closed. They're calling from underneath this thing as it's rumbling. It's risen up to a point. It's starting to descend. The saw itself, the blade itself, has spun back into the wall, and you can hear it moving back down the wall, back down to the other side of the corridor where you came from.
It'd be diving for the door.
Yes, Akon's gonna assist Sabriyya with getting to the go, and he's going to help her by pushing her through the door and then turning. And is it just he and Kelvin on the other side now?
That's correct.
I know what my role is in this story, dwarf. I don't need you to narrate. Go ahead.
Suit yourself.
So I want Sabriyya and Kelvin you can do one of two things: acrobatics or athletics. It's gonna be hard to hold this up and pull yourself through it. It's an easier acrobatics check to dive through at this point for the two of you. And with Aken's assist, Sabriyya would have advantage on the acrobatics check.
I'm still going to make it athletics.
Yeah.
13.
13 is enough for you to push through and squeeze through. But it's Kelvin
Just too wide.
That's stuck. And this is, as it's coming down, you'll be able to pull yourself through, but it's crushing into your back. You have the choice. You will take 13 bludgeon damage. I know you have some plot armor, so that about cancels out your plot armor currently, correct?
Yes.
So you're able to basically dwarf hawk and hold this up for a second. And with the plot armor, I'll even give Aken a chance. There's a moment for you to try to dive through as well, Aken.
Save your plot armor.
And he's going to kick the dwarf through.
All right. And what's Aken, as the door comes down to a close, we'll move to Aken here for a second. What is he doing? What's his plan here?
He sits down cross-legged, and is this thing resetting? Can he hear rumbling and buzzing again?
You hear the buzzing again. It's resetting.
Okay. He is going to, he's going to wait. And can he move and look down the hallway, the 60-foot hallway, to see if it's coming back around like a toy locomotive?
Absolutely, yeah. You do see that it's coming back around, and at the same level as before. So if you're taking the prone position, you could probably more easily avoid it.
Okay, he figures whatever will be, will be. He casts Rope Trick and buys himself an hour.
Throw Rope Trick up in chat, please.
Absolutely.
I've never been a spellcaster on Roll20.
I don't think I've ever seen Rope Trick cast in the game before.
I don't know that I have either.
So
It is the trap avoidance spell.
Yeah.
he pulls out a length of cord that shines, similar to something a knight would wear on his forearm. He takes it, throws it up into the air, and it hovers there. And while that thing begins to come back, he simply shimmies up, muttering the whole way, "Nothing interesting." And he climbs up and disappears where the rope ends, and the rope gets pulled up into a little space. And a minute later, pipe smoke comes out.
You'll notice that 3 times this buzzing happens, and at the end of the 3rd cycle, the wall begins to rise again. And this seems to be an ongoing cycle. So you could move through, you could easily avoid this saw, but the cycle seems to be 3 circles around, and then the wall rises. The wall comes down, 3 circles around.
Okay, can he take a short rest while he's in there? Time everything perfectly?
And catch back up later? Yep.
Catch back up later, everybody. See you on the flip.
Take an hour. All right, meanwhile, you don't know what's happened to Ken. He's stayed behind. He kicked Kelvin through the hole. You're on the other side now, and at this point, you do have control over your body, but this is a very sandy slope, and it seems to be going downward to another level, perhaps.
sort of riding it, I suppose, as much as possible.
Mhm.
Trying to stay righted to be able to see what's coming, or see what we're coming toward.
You're able to do it fairly easily. And when you get to the base of, again, 3 turns around the edge of the pyramid, a much steeper slope now, there's a hole in the floor, and you could shine your light down through this hole to look down to what lies beneath. Doing so, you will see it's a floor of bones. Many bones, skulls, mostly not full skeletons, all pieces, but that's all you see beneath you. You can't actually see the ground at all.
And the slanting corridor ends here,
That's correct.
but no wall. Well, I guess there's still a wall, but there's the...
Basically, there's a hole in the floor at this dead end, and you can drop down to what seems like a level below. There might be a floor down there, but if so, that entire floor is covered in remains, old remains.
So, peeking over the edge, looking down this charnel pit. One way.
One way what?
You go down, face off against... Gnolls have a reputation for necromancy. Probably some skeletons. And then maybe there's a way out.
Oh, joy.
I look to Jaunt. Are you feeling up for this? Taunting a bit.
You bring that up now? Well, I guess now I have no choice.
You wouldn't want to disappoint Lady Asha, would you?
Well, no, I don't believe yet in our brief relationship I have ever disappointed, so let's not start now.
After you, then.
Takes an arrow, knocks it in the bow. Does someone else want to lead the way, or should I?
As he says that, I lift my heels up and let myself slide down through the hole.
Yup, she's the protagonist. You're the plucky sidekick. And then jump over the edge.
So, Sabriyya. Oh yeah, Rasha.
I just give Jaunt a very sly grin and then follow.
Be still, my heart. And then I go in as well.
So one after another, you jump down. It's a little less than a 10-foot drop. The ceilings are pretty low here, at least from where you land, and crunch into these remains. And you find yourself in a long, narrow tunnel, a choking mass of old, brittle, fleshless bones. If you take a step or you move, you can hear the snap and the crunch beneath your weight. It's the sort of thing that would only happen to very old remains. And you find yourself, when you land, when you move, or do anything, starting to kind of sink a little more into it.
Let us keep going.
How far ahead am I able to see? Are we able to, should say?
This is another, so with your light, I think you have like a certain range, I think.
It would be the same as a torch, I think, at this point.
Yeah, roll me a perception check.
Okay. On 8.
It's hard to see how far it goes. It goes in both directions, and it seems to be a single corridor. You don't have to progress that far before you reach a dead end. The first time moving north, you think, at least if you've got your direction still straight, that you've reached a dead end on that side. It doesn't turn like the previous corridors does.
Would you like to take a look at that wall?
You'll notice here. Roll me another. You can do me an investigation or perception. I'll let you choose.
I was asking Kelvin if we bumped into a stone wall.
I have a sneaking suspicion about what's going to happen because I've heard this story before. So, did it in the right way. If we go back, we'll surely run into the guardian of this thing. So, we'll follow along to the left. And hopefully, I will have changed the story. Don't blame me if I'm wrong.
Well, we may not be alive to blame you.
Oh, no. The blaming will happen as we're being ground to dust by skeletons.
That's some good imagery.
I'll let Kelvin. You can, if you wanna kind of lead the way forward here to investigate. You can make me an investigation check, perception check.
We'll go with investigation.
Oh no. Just seems like a dead end, and you do get the sense that there's too many bodies down here. Surely these couldn't all be adventurers. Surely this must be something else, some sort of mass tomb, grave, right?
Considering the age of the bones, these aren't adventurers. These are the workers. So, if walls aren't going to cut it, let's do the really dumb thing. So, any of you brought a shovel?
I have no shovel.
Damn.
Perhaps the man with the long hair and the bags and the salt.
Oh, he's preoccupied.
The best I have is this grave, and I do not know if that is suitable for our needs.
Don't want to blunt a weapon, not unless you absolutely have to. Okay, we're doing this the nasty way. All right. Here we go.
And so he's digging with his hands.
Yep. Trying to get to actual floor and get an idea of this place.
Absolutely. Go ahead and roll me a perception check this time. Yeah, you're pulling up breaking bones, snapping bones, and it's tough, man. The further you get down and you're throwing bones up over your shoulder, they're sliding back down and smacking you in the back of the neck. It is not a pleasant business, this digging, but you do find a couple of interesting things. First off, you realize that some of these bones have tufts of fur attached to them, and I don't know how much of a tracker Kelvin is, but you do get the sense that it's almost as though there was some sort of recent activity here, not the bones themselves, but something else or someone else, or maybe gnolls or something has been down here. And then second, when you do dig to the bottom of this floor, you pull up enough bones, you see that there is a passage here. It was buried beneath the remains at the end of the hall. It's small though. Even for a dwarf, you would have to crawl through it.
Yep. Terribly right. Mm-hmm. Terribly right. So, good news. There's a way out. Bad news. We're going to have to crawl through this charnel house of bone and squeeze through a very narrow passage. It'll be like a very dusty birth.
I can't say I can recall my birth, but I suppose it could have been dusty.
I don't want to meet your mother. And then just proceeds to go start tunneling down.
Are the rest of you crawling in afterwards?
Yes.
Yeah.
I will gesture to Rasha. Take the lead. I'll take the rear.
What a gentleman. Clearly not meeting
that's going
anything.
well. All right. So the lot of you progress through, and with Rasha is the third to last, and John's the last, correct?
Correct.
Aken, I guess, would technically be the last, perhaps, we assume. So the lot of you climb through what proves to be a claustrophobic tunnel, and the air down here is particularly dry and stale. You can feel the insides of your throat itch. It's so dry. And you continue to crawl through the dark passage, and as you do, you begin to feel large finger-sized insects crawl over your hand, creep through your hair, skitter across your eyes, the bridge of your nose. But you can continue to crawl onward.
In the confined space, just mothering prestidigitation to make a, smell that's better and make a humidifying effect. Ultimately useful spell is ultimately useful.
It does help. You feel the itchy of your throat reduce a little bit as you humidify this passage, at least around you, and then the smell gets a little bit better. Is anyone else doing anything in particular? Are you all continuing onward?
Continuing, staying as close to Kelvin as I can.
It smells a little bit better over there.
It does smell a little better, and Jaunt would be the only one perhaps who would know, but this is extremely unsettling for Sabriyya. Might be more than just a little bit of claustrophobia here.
As you continue to crawl onward, the passage seems to be sloping. You feel that it's bending, and again, just like before, left and left and left and left. And it's almost as though the space that you're crawling through is narrowing a little bit, just a little bit with each turn. Each time you go left, it seems like you got to squeeze your shoulders a little tighter together. You move slower, and it seems like many long minutes. Every part of you itches as an hour progresses, maybe longer. And then finally, through a hole that you think you could squeeze through, but it's gonna be tight, you do see what seems like an exit, a drop into another hallway, a larger hallway, and you see the dim glow of torchlight through that hallway.
As we got closer and closer to the end of this, I've been kind of muttering at Kelvin. Now you're sure this is not going to get so tight that we can't get back out if we have to? Muted.
Sure is a word. It exists. I have to admit, Common is not my first language, and I only learned it when I ran away from home. So, yeah, sure. Sure.
Do you see the end yet?
Yep. The end is here. You're gonna want to give me a moment. Casting prestidigitation, because the ultimately useful spell is ultimately useful. I can't create like massive amounts of water like, divine people can, but I can clean this area up with the spell and make it slick, at least for me. And I do so.
Absolutely. Yeah. You feel a lot better about this. You feel like, yeah, I could probably just kind of pop right out of here after getting all the walls and everything around you a little slick. And so he does. He pops out into the hallway beyond. Sabriyya's next. Are you all following along?
Mm-hmm. Yes. As fast as I can.
Absolutely. You guys are able to squeeze out, and what do I want to call this? Ken, how about you give me? I wish there was a luck roll. I really, that's the one thing I wish D&D had was a luck roll. Give me a let's call it a wisdom check.
Just not a saving throw, just a straight wisdom check.
Just a wisdom check. You can add your proficiency bonus.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, so 18 plus 2, 20.
So once you rested, and sort of figured out the lay of this particular trap and puzzle, would it have been Aken's intention to catch up?
Yes.
And with his divine magic, his ability to sort of see things that other people can't see, things that haven't even happened yet, I will say at this point, you have managed to get your short rest and catch up. Following their trail, you can find scraps of clothing in this mass grave that leads you to the end of the grave, where it looks like some of these bones have been pulled up, and you can sort of make out the beginning of this tunnel. If you wish, you're able to proceed through the tunnel.
This is awful. All right.
Just like with them, it's very claustrophobic. There are creepies and crawlies all over you. It's your throat itches. Does Aken do anything to make his time in this tunnel a little easier?
No.
So you are able to catch up, not quite yet, but you are following along. And as we move back to the group, you all land in a tunnel much like the first tunnel you saw, except for there are no murals here. And the hallways themselves are a little longer. As Kelvin, you take your first step after landing, you feel something shift beneath your foot. You hear a tick, 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 and then hear a click. And then something beneath your foot depresses slowly into the ground.
Mm-hmm.
All of you are out now, except for Aken, who's still working his way through. He's not caught up yet.
And have we heard this as well?
You've at least heard Kelvin's uncomfortable hums.
Perception.
That's right. Roll me. I would say with a 13, you heard the click.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking around. Walls, ceiling. Gonna do a quick investigation here to see if I can.
I'm not going to make you make an investigation check. When you look up at the ceiling, you notice that in this hall where the ceilings are about 20 feet high. They're higher than the previous hallways. Hole has opened up in the ceiling. The wall has slid away from the top, and you now can hear something that sounds like sliding getting louder and louder from above.
It's not about to dump all those bones on us, is it?
I don't know.
Is there any way? Are there other passages out of this space, or?
Yeah, this is another one of those halls where at the end of the hall that you're currently in, you take a left and
so is it coming down behind us?
You've dropped down from a passage onto the ground. It was like above you, out of the wall. You dropped down, but the ceiling above that passage and above you has opened up.
For how far down has the ceiling opened? How far I'm running. I'm just running get out from under whatever this is.
That's fair. Yeah, you've got about 60 feet to the end of the hall here.
I'm probably just running.
Just running. Is anybody else doing anything else? You see Sabriyya start to take off.
I will sprint in the same direction and try to, if Rasha is nearby, escort her along as well.
As they're booking it, I'm just trying my best. But as soon as that foot goes off that pressure plate, it's just running.
And Rasha?
Yeah, let's run.
Cool. I'm gonna need you all to roll me initiative.
Great.
Just real quick, it's all fine. Perfect. All right, so it's Kiana, Billy, Allison, and Pope. I will let Allison, since she saw the hole and started running first, I will let you take the first turn, and then we'll move you back to a regular position and initiative on future rounds. Here's how this is basically going to work. As you all take off running, it's just a moment later with a huge thud and shake, the walls around you vibrating. You see a 20-foot tall, the height of the ceiling, steel ball land right where you were. And that steel ball begins to roll. You're running down a very small slope and it's rolling very slowly. You will notice that it's starting to pick up speed more and more and more. So, Allison, you have 60 feet to the end of this hall before it turns to the left. And I will say this, we just got our follower goal for the month of December. Congratulations, guys in chat. Thank you so much for being here, for checking out our show. It's awesome. Everybody in every show gets a little something. For us, I'm going to give us all one more round of inspiration. So that gives Kelvin 2, Sabriyya 2, Jaunt 2, Akem 1, and Rasha 1.
Yeah,
might come in handy.
All right. So I've got an action here.
You have your full turn. Yeah, you can use your movement. You can use your action, just like normal combat. You are right now like 5 feet away from this ball, but before it gets rolling, you're going to get a chance to move forward.
Oh. Okay. God, I hate being third level. I'm just going to run. I'm going to run as fast as I can.
There's no shame in that.
And get down to the corner of that hallway.
Is that right? So you have 30 feet. So with the sprint action, you can make it 60 feet and you turn the corner and you see another 60-foot hallway that also turns again to the left. That brings us up to Kiana.
Yeah, let's just run. All right.
All right.
Just going.
You also are able to get down to the corner and look left. The ball is rolling slowly behind you, but you see another long stretch. Billy.
Also dash action.
All right, and you have 30 feet as well.
Yep.
All right, you reach the corner. You see what they see. Pope, it's Kelvin's turn.
50 feet.
50 feet. You don't quite reach the corner. You don't see what's on the other side when it bends sharply to the left. As the ball continues to roll, picking up speed, it's maybe only like 10 feet down. You guys are pretty far ahead of it, but it is starting to pick up speed. And as we get back, it's Allison's turn. So you can run another 60 feet if you want.
I do. I'll take it all the way to the other end of the hall.
And again, it bends one more time around. So Sabriyya is significantly further than the rest of the group at this point. You guys, Rasha and John, can see her. She's almost down to the second end. She's about to turn left. And it's at this point that I need you all to make me dexterity saving throws.
John with the 6.
I'm going to use one of those advantages here. 16.
Good idea. So Rasha and Sabriyya, as you're running, both of you at different times happen to look to the left, and you notice that in the wall to your left, where there's a mural in the original hallway, here there are a series of holes, and from those holes fire a series of darts every about a foot. You are able to kind of squeeze between two and then keep running. But Jaunt and Kelvin, you do get stuck in your left arm with a dart, and I do need you both to make me Constitution saving throws now. You're muted.
Is this poison?
Yes, it is.
I have advantage.
You have advantage.
And John got a 20.
Yeah, you will both take 3 poison damage. And if you're a dwarf,
Resistance.
take less. Yep. So you have resistance to the damage. And you'll feel, for a second, almost like your joints are going to lock up and you're going to slow down, but you, adrenaline pumping, keep running through it. We're back up to Kiana's turn.
Yeah, just running.
Just running. All right, Billy?
Continuing to use dash.
You both are able to reach the end of the second corridor, the second turn. You turn and you see there's another equal length hallway. Sabriyya is currently running down. Allison, what's Sabriyya doing here?
I first want to see if there's anything that appears as though it's going to stop the roll of this ball, or...
So right now, the ball has only rolled. You're not even sure where it is. It's significantly behind you.
Okay.
You can hear it. You can hear the roll, but you can't see it.
But I don't see anything in the floor or the walls that's going to stop it.
I'll tell you, roll me a perception check.
Okay. 12.
The only thing you notice with a 12 is that the corners of each of these turns, unlike previous halls in this pyramid, are rounded.
Of course they are. I'm now a full 60 feet ahead of the rest, aren't I?
Yeah, at this point you are. As a matter of fact, if you don't move at all, you will be, at this turn, you will be equal with Jaunt and Rasha.
I'm going to wait. I'll kind of continue to sort of stand. I'm looking over my shoulder, waiting for them. Come on, and I'll hold my action just in case something pops out in front of us or something.
Absolutely. All right, Kelvin, it's your turn. You have not even reached the first turn.
Booking it.
You turn the corner.
Just book it.
And you're pounding away as fast as you can on your dwarf legs, and you make it. You're now almost you're about 2/3 of the way through the second stretch of corridor here, and it's at that point that I need everyone to make me a dexterity saving throw.
Maybe gonna use advantage here one more time.
Using advantage this time.
John for 13.
10.
And I heard advantage from Kelvin as well, right?
Yep.
That's a good roll. Allison and Kiana, you this time are stuck with 2 poison darts as they shoot out of the wall. You can hear the ball rolling a little faster and faster behind you. Roll me Constitution saving throws and take 3 poison damage.
14.
Kiana, you both take 3 poison damage, but you also feel your muscles lock up. It's hard to run. You can push yourself forward, but you are affected by the slowed condition for 1d4 rounds. That's 3 rounds. So you move at half speed. Sabriyya, you're able to fight through it. Now we are back up to Kiana's turn. You, Sabriyya, John, all at the end of the second hall. There is a left-hand turn at the end of the third hall. None of you have gotten that far yet.
I try to push through and keep moving.
With your slowed speed, you're only able to make it, even dashing, halfway down the second hall.
Yeah, and you can see Rasha's general composure is starting to fall apart a bit at realizing that this is not a good thing.
All right. Jaunt, it's your turn. You were neck and neck with Rasha, but she's slowing down.
So I'm gonna move. What is it? I'm not gonna dash. I'm just going to use my movement for 30 feet, and approach Rasha from the side, and go, "Not today, friend." And then continue to stay with her and like shoving her along and helping her and like dragging her when her limbs lock up.
Here's the thing. So you can move 30 feet to her. And if she lets you drag her and help her along, you can, but you can only move at half speed. So that means you can only help her. You could only help her along 15 more feet.
Can I assist with that as well?
Once you get up there, it'll be a little less for you. The math is diminishing returns basically the further you are away, but absolutely. Is that what you want to do?
Yeah, I'll come back and help.
So the 3 of you all together, all working together, are able to get 2/3 the way down the hall.
The third hall.
The third hall. Yeah, you can't quite get to the corner, but right now you are all 40 feet down a 60-foot hall, more or less. And you can hear the rolling increasing, getting louder and louder. Kelvin, you see the ball. It turns the corner. It rolls off of the corner, and it's starting to roll towards you. Now, you're still a good ways ahead of it, and we did all just get inspiration. So that might be helpful.
I forgot something.
What'd you forget?
I have a cunning action.
Ooh, that is helpful. That is very helpful. So that means in that case that you can easily.
I like the idea that he was
75.
holding himself back until he saw the ball, and now it's
So
like,
the ball rolled.
oh,
So with speed that perhaps Kelvin did not know he possessed previously, seeing that ball, that 20-foot tall steel ball, roll around the corner and come towards him, you are able to move a total of 75 feet. Now this will actually almost catch you up to the others.
just chugging as fast as he can. Faster! Faster!
And you see him coming around the corner. He's running faster than any of you. You can hear the ball rolling behind you. And this is where I ask you all to make me dexterity saving throws.
I'm gonna use an inspiration on that.
All right. And that leaves you with one. Oh,
Using
my God.
inspiration.
I'm gonna use it one as well. Yes.
Ooh. All right. So
Not look at the gift legion in the mouth.
no. So Allison and Pope, Sabriyya and Kelvin are able to avoid this round. However, Jaunt and Rasha, I both need you now to make me Constitution saving throws and take 3 more poison damage.
23 on Constitution.
You're able to keep it together. Or you're not affected by this poison. You're able to shrug it off. We are back up to Kiana.
As
You are still slowed.
as we're going, I yell, "Syrians fired! Jaunt, how many times are you going to get shot today?"
Remember,
As
he's a
many-
comic relief!
I'll get shot as much as I feel like, damn it.
We're just pulling Rasha.
Yeah.
Pulling Rasha along. How's everybody? Is anybody looking particularly rough right now? Anybody in the danger zone?
I'm at 9 from 25.
So Sabriyya's looking pretty danger zony. So let's see here. Kiana, you are able to move 30
Yeah.
feet.
Yep, that's
So you turn the corner, and with their help, let's see, it's 15, so that's actually 2 of 5. The 3 of you, Allison, Billy, and Kiana, you're able to help Rasha get around this corner. And what you see as you turn the corner is another small stretch of a few feet. You almost get to the end of the stretch. You're actually only at the end of this turn 5 feet away from a long chasm. And in the middle of that chasm is a hanging rope from a ceiling. On the other edge of that chasm is another ledge, a pathway, and then at the edge of that, the end of this hallway, a door.
Boy, oh boy, I'm glad I'm not there.
Pope, it's Kelvin's turn now.
Now we know why they call him the Salt Mage. I'm rather salty. Again, 75, booking it. If I see that rope, it's just leap of faith, grab.
And you actually, with 75, you book it. You do see the ball roll around the corner behind you as you're just about to turn, and then you keep running. You're able to run past them as they're carrying Rasha. And if you want to make a jump for this rope, I will let you do so with your choice of acrobat. No, it's just acrobatics.
Using that last advantage.
It's good. What a difference advantage makes. Yes, you jump, and for a moment you're swinging through the air. You don't think you're gonna make it to the bottom of this rope, and then your hand reaches up, and you almost feel as though there's a burst of air or something beneath you, and you grab onto the bottom of the rope. You swing across the chasm, and you're able to let go and land on the other side.
Not that difficult. Come on.
As the rope swings back, Rasha, go.
Well, first you three can roll me dexterity saving.
John.
Don't have any advantages left to use.
6.
Come on, baby. Oh, where is it? Oh, the 11 is what I got. God damn it.
Billy and Allison, roll me Constitution saving throws.
12.
15.
You'll each take 3 poison damage. And Billy, just like with Rasha, you were affected by the poisoned and slowed condition for 1d4 rounds. Now, this is the last round for Rasha. But Jaunt has the next 3 rounds, half speed, and poisoned, which is disadvantage on ability checks and whatnot. So that might come into play here in a second. You're all 5 feet away from this ledge. Who's going?
Not Jaunt.
I'm pushing to get Rasha across.
Okay. I'm going to use an inspiration.
Is this your last inspiration?
Yes.
Okay. Acrobatics.
Boy.
And this cancels out the disadvantage, which is good. Which is really good. As the rope swings back around from Kelvin grabbing it, you jump, and it's pulling away from you already. It swings out, and then it swings back. But before it can quite get out of your reach, you grasp it, and you swing across with it. You let it go, and you land on the other side, and it swings back towards the other 2. At this point, you both hear the rolling louder and louder and louder, and you see it turn that final corner. It's behind you now, the steel ball picking up speed. You're both at the ledge. The rope swings back towards you. Which one of you is jumping for it?
Oh, man.
John, go. I'm pushing you.
Okay.
I'm ordering you to go, basically.
She is pushing, so I will use an advantage for an acrobatics.
All right, and that leaves you with 2. The advantage cancels out your disadvantage, so just a straight acrobatics check.
13.
And you are just able to get your hands on it, and you swing across, and you land on the other side. Sabriyya?
Overwork sacrifices now.
Roll me a dexterity saving throw.
You got plot
She's
armor and
done it.
information from chat.
I see that. I'm just not sure if I want to use the inspiration for this or for the acrobatics check in a minute here. Back at my previous rolls. I'm going to use it here.
Okay.
$11.
You are hit by another poisonous dart. Roll me a Constitution saving throw and take 3 poison damage.
Oh.
You feel the poison course through your body. You are affected by the poison's disadvantage on ability checks. You can make the jump. The ball is coming up right behind you. You will have disadvantage on this acrobatics check. And how many hit points is Sabriyya at?
I have, I have 7. Oh no, plot armor's only 6 now, right? So I have 3 plot armor and 6 hit points.
All right. Make that acrobatics check at disadvantage.
That's right.
So your muscles are locking up. You're almost about to fall down this chasm, and you see down it. You see what's down there. It's perfectly rounded. It's just the height of the ball. It's meant to catch this ball. And if you were to fall down it, there's only one thing between the ball and the ground, and that would be you. And then you push off your back foot, and you reach, and you miss the rope. And for a moment, you're in the air, still levitating, and you feel something move you upwards, and you can grasp the rope and pull yourself across and fall to the other side. And right behind you, just a moment afterwards, the ball rolls and rolls and falls down into the slot, into the hole. The entire inside of the pyramid, the walls all around you shake, and on the other side where you came from, just behind the ball, stands Akem.
So Jaunt wants to take an arrow and shoot down the pit where the steel ball went and go, fuck that ball.
You're able to do so. There's literally nothing stopping you.
Sort of pat him on the shoulder as I'm laying there on top of the pile of party.
So just standing, staring at Aken and going, that kind of mage.
As Rasha pulls herself from this pile of party, she'll lean down and offer a hand up to Jaunt.
Jaunt grabs it, pulls her up.
Thank you for helping earlier.
Oh, you're ever so welcome. I don't suppose this lighting makes me look any more attractive. Does it? Somebody tell me.
Pleasantries are for after we deal with the thing at the bottom of this. Then you can run off into the sunset.
Wait, this isn't the thing at the bottom? We have...
Oh no, we've got far more to go. This was just like the height of, the secondary thing of getting to the problem.
Well, which is unfortunate because I might have prematurely climaxed there. As in terms of our plot. I thought the climax just happened, and I wouldn't want to be premature because...
I was rooting for you, you just lost me.
Rasha immediately turning to Sabriyya and helping her up. And thank you.
Of course.
So you all stand now at the end of this tunnel, and like the others, except for this time with a door instead of a trap. But there are still murals. For instance, if you were to look down at the floor here, you would see it's painted with jackal-headed gnolls praying to the figure that is their queen. And you would see that the queen stands atop some sort of red surface, drinking from the same ornate cup that you'd seen in previous murals. The walls all around you show human sacrifices. These are people being burned alive, being devoured. The ways and mannerisms are numerous, and the detail is, it's a lot of detail. It's a little sickening. The ceiling above you shows the same jackal-headed gnolls, but this time they're ripping each other apart, limb from limb, exquisite attention to every small piece. And the door at the end of this hall, unmarked by mural or painting, is a simple iron door with a ring handle.
Does anyone else see that simple iron door with a ring handle?
I feel like it is hard to miss, which is very suspicious.
How far away is it, Don?
Oh, it's only about 10 feet. This end after the chasm is a very small stretch.
Let me just... After everything, I'm allowing myself to be this foolish. Ignitio. And firebolt at the door.
Absolutely. The firebolt strikes the iron of the door and sizzles against it, but it does push the door open. It's not locked. There's no click or locking mechanism. It just simply swings open. And through the doorway is a small, beautiful, grim temple. Golden relics seem to line the walls, forged in shapes that are like runes, but runes that are alien to you. You can see that there are torches inside, and those torches are burning with an eerie light from their sconces, bathing the room in a sort of crimson glow.
Yep. End game. So, who wants to be first down the murder hole?
Not I.
That's the right response.
If you're looking at all, Sabriyya is in a bad way here.
If I may, Sabriyya, you are not looking quite well enough to lead first.
That's fair.
Well, perhaps I shall lead. I do not have a source of light, but it seems that
I can
our
go
way is
first. Fine. He has dark vision, so he can go first.
I forgot you were here.
Yes, I was the one not running for my life.
He had a break. A delightful break.
Well, if you're offering, I'm not one to deny it.
I shall take my leave of you all then, as my role in all of this is obvious now. And he looks at the dwarf. I am the bookmark. I'm not really in the story.
Oh no, you're most definitely in the story. The author is right now writing of my rage and indignation.
Dwarven indignation. And he will go down in.
Akem, you're the first to see this, that inside the temple is a grotesque scene. There lie several dozen dead jackal-headed gnolls, freshly killed. Their throats have been ripped out, or they've been hacked into pieces, or they've been impaled on javelins. It's immediately evident that these gnolls turned on each other. The stinking remains of whatever battle happened here are chaotic, and the greatest congregation of the creatures is 30 feet deeper into the temple, approaching a pool of some sort of thick, dark, red liquid. That pillar rises from the center of the pool, and atop that pillar is presented an ornate cup. The same goblet you believe that you've seen depicted in several of the murals as you've progressed through this temple.
Fantastic. This thing. He will relay this information back to them. As a cop from the bureaus, I'm not quite sure what to do. What do you wish me to do?
We'll be with you shortly. Though that I have a feeling it's going. Let's not ruin the surprise.
Oh, by all means, ruin the surprise, Kelvin.
Nope. We have to step in first. Then I get to explain the surprise.
That I don't think that's what I feel like. It's the best if you tell us the surprise first, and then we do the thing. Am I wrong?
Well, it would mean it would trigger without us being in there, except for Arkan. Okay. So, dark and terrible ritual. Gnolls are having a hard time. They remember a history about a previous, god queen, dark ritual, resurrect dark queen through necromantic thing that she already did before. Blood, cup, rising again. And then we have to proceed to either A, run away, B, stop her.
Huh. Interesting. Now, does the end of this thing have to end in conflict? Can we just leave? Do we have to?
Every interaction is conflict.
I'm not a big reader of books, so if this is a riddle, just let's save time. And you could just tell me what the hell that means.
Whenever two individuals or forces interact, one of them wants something, the other one wants something else. That's how it works.
Huh. So if we want to leave, what's stopping us?
All the traps. And that's not how this goes. We have to go in. Because we can't backtrack really easy, so the way out is through.
Then through it is. Anyone in disagreement?
Let's go.
You all enter the temple. Jaunt, you feel the poison effects that had been coursing through your body fade. You actually feel better than you've felt in some time. And because of our blessing from chat for our $50 goal for the evening, you will be affected by the haste spell for the rest of this episode. I'm sure this could only be a good thing. I have no idea how this could become a negative thing. Speaking of negative things, as you all step through the door swings shut behind you. And the pool of blood in the center of this golden ancient temple begins to boil. You can hear the hiss of it as bubbles rise to the surface and pop. And then slowly, very slowly, a figure drenched in that crimson liquid rises from the pool, blood dripping from her body. And as the queen of the gnolls lifts her jackal's head, blood spews forth from her mouth, and she spreads her snout so that you can see rows, many, many rows of jagged teeth. She begins to walk forward.
That's the surprise.
Not really all that surprising.
I didn't want to ruin it for a reason. It's so underwhelming now.
Drawing my second scimitar, preparing for battle at this point.
As you step forward, drawing your scimitar, the dripping body seems to break apart into pieces, and you hear that buzzing again, the same buzzing that you heard outside in front of the statue. Those large insects flying. And I need you all to make me a charisma saving throw right now.
Chant with an 11.
Rasha with a 9.
I'm using an advantage. Advantage.
12.
16.
16. The body dissolves of the queen. You never really saw more than the smile on a blood-covered form. What's left is that buzzing swarm of insects. Moves like a mouth, like a shape, like a head sometimes, and sometimes just like a swirl. Jaunt and Rasha, you feel something inside you break. It's something inherent to being a human being, to being a sentient creature that is capable of compassion, that is capable of caring for others. And you remember those dogs outside ripping each other's throats out. You are looking down at these gnolls here before the pool, having turned on each other and ripped each other apart. And you snap in the same way that they snapped. Sabriyya, Kelvin, and Aken, you do not. And Jaunt, you have haste.
A way out.
Yeah.
Are you looking for one?
Yes, like looking up, looking for a way out.
You roll me perception checks.
I'm using another advantage on this one.
This is Akem's last.
Yes. Dirty 20.
Allison with a 12. And what's Kelvin doing?
I didn't expect that twist. Okay. Looking dead at Sabriyya. This is the part where we run. And then booking it away from those two. Cunning action, just zoom.
Moving. And Aken, with a 20, I will tell you, are you using any of your divine magics on this? Is there anything he's doing?
He's trying to find a way back to the sun for the priestess, because he's seen the future.
You feel your mind slip far into the past. You see how this place came to be, a lie of coexistence, something that was meant to be a peaceful valley for humans and beasts and the creatures that became gnolls. And you see how that lie led to the deaths of all of the humans who lived in this valley, their sacrifices, how in this temple they would be devoured and sacrificed to the hunger of the queen. And there, here in the center, in the ceiling, would open up a passage to the stars, a singular tunnel marked by a ladder. You watch as ancient gnoll priests who served the queen would drink from the cup. The hole would open up, and then they would, through magic, rise. But you believe that one could have climbed through this thing that you're seeing in your mind's eye.
Is it open without the... Can I see it open now that I know where it is?
It's closed. Like I said, what you see in the past are a series of rituals where they would sacrifice underneath the stars, and this opening would appear in the center of the temple in the pyramid, and every single time the priest would drink from the queen's cup.
Can he get to... We're right by the cup, right?
The cup is in the center of this boiling pool on a pedestal that rises up from the liquid.
Okay. He grabs Sabriyya. I have seen what you do. Your story is not in this book. And he casts Levitate into her and pushes her over the boiling blood towards the cup. Drink from it and rise. And he turns to face the other two, keeping his concentration up.
And Sabriyya, you're thrown over the boiling water with the levitate, and you fly through these swarms of scarabs, stinging, biting your flesh as you pass through. You can reach the cup. It is full of a red liquid and what looks like something floating on top in the center of it. Something small, a small object.
Am I able to hold on to the edge of the cup for a moment under the power of the levitate spell?
Absolutely, yeah. You can kind of balance it out.
How big is the cup? I guess I've got a.
Oh, it's a goblet.
Oh, okay, got it. Good. Yeah. So I grab it. What's in the middle of it? What's in all that liquid?
Pull out right in the center. It looks like a ring. Just a small ring.
I slide the ring on my finger.
All right. Do you drink from the cup?
I'm looking just to see if the ring does anything before I drink from the cup.
Not that you can tell.
I look back toward Jaunt and I'm ashamed for just a moment that the first thought that occurs to me is that the secret is safe. And then I drink from the cup.
As you drink from the cup, like before, the great creak and groan, the stone above you begins to open towards the sky. It's not the stars that you see. It is the sun beating down from above. It doesn't reach all the way to the base where you are in the pyramid, but you can see it up there. And there too, stone ladder carved into the wall that you can climb. Kelvin, I'll give you a chance to try to do something, and then it's Jaunt and Rasha. They've been dazed for a second, but you can see the wild change in their eyes. All of you can.
Okay, so area open up top. Okay, we're doing this. Rope just comes out from his back. Grappling hook.
Throwing it up there.
Yep.
All right, let's call it an athletics check.
All right. Don't think I have any inspirations left, so this is just what it is.
Sabriyya, roll me an athletics check. It goes flying over and falls into the lake. into the boiling lake. You can pull it out, but you missed pretty badly, and it almost sailed past Sabriyya, but Sabriyya, you couldn't reach it either. Rasha and Jaunt, Ken is standing before you, focusing, doing his thing, his Salt Mage thing, and you are changed. What are the two of you doing?
Is it who's first? Is Rasha first?
Just do it. Who's hungriest?
Rasha's gonna pull out the glaive, and the trinkets clink against each other as she goes for the weaker one.
Climb!
Oh. All right. How much damage?
That is 10. And then with the butt end coming around, 15.
Does a 15 hit you, Aken? No.
A 21 doesn't either.
A 21 doesn't either?
No, because he uses his number 3 portent and sees it coming, and he ducks as it zips above his head. Climb!
He saw this in a dream, and he does. Somehow he manages even that deadly first blow using the last. That's the last of Aken's portents, right?
Yes.
All right. Jaunt.
Jaunt is gazing over at Rasha as the madness seeps into his brain and snaps his psyche, and he starts shifting around, and his jaw juts out, and he pulls out one of the dried, or the large water skin, pops the cork off, sticks his hand in it, and takes out a fist full of toads, smashes them against the ground, and takes the metal hook he has with the giant salt block and hammers the toads, so the blood from the toads seeps onto the salt rock, which is the equivalent of thunder wave.
All right. So
And in a 15-foot explosion, like the acid from the frogs.
That's Akem and Rasha both make a Constitution saving throw. All right. So Rasha, you take half damage from this. Akem, you take the full damage. What's that damage, Will?
It's 2d8. I'm putting it in right now.
Mm-hmm.
And if you did fail to save, you're pushed 10 feet away.
So Akem, make me a go ahead and roll your concentration check for me. Sabriyya, we'll get to that here in a second. Akem, you go flying forward at the force of this this alchemical explosion. Rasha, you're not pushed forward, but you do take half damage. You take 9 damage, Greg, and you are sent into the boiling blood. Go ahead and roll me a Constitution saving throw. You will only take half. You'll only take half damage here. 16 acid damage. Akem falls into the boiling blood. You can feel it peeling away your flesh. You feel actually bubbles of air pushing upwards, making your skin grow bulbous. You feel your eyes expand and get wider, your hair burn and singe. Your magnificent beard begins to melt away into this boiling liquid. Akem, what are you doing in this moment as you sink below?
He simply says,
I've already seen it. Climb. As he goes under.
As he says it, it sounds like the back of his throat. Those last words are the last breath that he's able to take before he is food for the Jackal Queen. He sinks below the water. And Sabriyya, I need you to make me an acrobatics saving throw, or an acrobatics check, or an athletics check. I'll let you choose. I know, John.
Okay.
I got you in a second.
We'll do athletics then. 18.
You are able to, before you fall from the levitation, grab onto that wall, onto that climbing ledge. Jaunt, what else are you doing?
He's going to shift his gaze towards Rasha and mumble incoherent things and grab another tiny little bola off the side, like the vials that are tied together, and sling them with a psychotic rage at Rasha and cast Frostbite.
So make a dexterity saving throw.
It's Constitution.
Oh, is it Constitution? That's right.
So it's 1d6 cold, and she has disadvantage on the next weapon attack.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I got you. We'll take your 4. We'll take your 4. So you feel it burning your face. And as the two of you kind of turn on each other now, everything breaking. The ship has definitely sailed at this point for this moment. Kelvin, what do you do?
Just under his breath. Such a lovely couple. And again, just retrieve the hook. Try again.
All right. And I'll let Sabriyya try to help catch this
I'm
time.
ready for it this time.
Yeah. Roll me. I'll give you an advantage on this one with the assist.
All right.
Oh. And perfectly, Sabriyya, with 3 hit points, 6 hit points, she's on the edge. She's barely hanging on. She swings down and grabs it. She hooks it, and you are able to climb up with her. Do you each ascend to the top and out of the pyramid?
As fast as I can.
Yeah.
There's nothing stopping you. Below you, you see Jaunt and Rasha. And as they continue to fight, is there anything, Rasha or Jaunt, you want to say or do?
I'm going to snarl. And then, like, for a moment, like, his eyes soften and his eyebrows lighten. And he sees what's happening. And he gets sad. And at the same time, it chokes up on him again, and he turns into a moment of rage.
And Rasha, where there may have been genuine smiles before, this is now feral, wild. And she just hits it out. Prove you're worthy.
And as Sabriyya and Kelvin ascend out of the pyramid and escape, Jaunt and Rasha tear each other's throats out. They too become food for the Jackal Queen. Now, as you exit the temple, as you exit the pyramid, Sabriyya, I need you to make me 2 saving throws. I need a charisma, and I need a constitution.
Alrighty. Charisma, 21. Constitution, 6.
Mm-hmm. You leave the temple behind, and you are back out into the excavation site in no time. There is Prince Omar. He's actually already packed up the tents that he had unpacked before, and he's just sort of waiting. He's on top of one of his horses, and when he sees you, he looks excited for a second and then kind of sad. Did you find anything? Is it time to go? I threat neutralized.
I slide down the edge of the temple. I'm looking back to see if Kelvin is following. I'm not answering the prince.
As Kelvin hears this, he just gently puts a hand on Sabriyya, and then his demeanor entirely changes. My prince, threat neutralized? No. Find? Yes. This place needs to be destroyed from the outside.
I agree. I had the same thought several hours ago, and I think we'll send a great many men to do it.
Don't let them go inside. I
know that.
Apologize that before your nuptials, you're going to need to perform 3 funerals.
Oh, I see.
My
Rasha, then?
I'm sorry, my prince. She didn't make it.
Well, we should go. No use staying here, and if what you said is true, then there's nothing more we can do here.
I would like to give both myself and Priestess Sabriyya some time, if you wouldn't mind. It's going to take time to break up camp anyway.
Oh, yes, I could. Yes, time. Very well. We have to hurry. I have to get back soon, and
My lord. That's
Priestess?
enough. That's enough.
Yes.
I turn my back to him so that I'm facing Kelvin.
I'm very sorry. But that was the story.
Not every story has a happy ending.
No. The warnings don't.
Warning.
Yes. This was a horror meted on you to remember. I don't know what's coming, but something truly awful will be in your way, and you will need the strength that you had this day. Don't forget them.
I nod and I reach out to take Kelvin's hand in mine if he'll give it to me.
Yes.
Thank you.
Don't thank me yet, priestess. There's much worse things coming.
And with that, I place a hand just before him, not quite touching your chest. Then may Syrian's light shine on us both. Farewell.
And so you part ways, Sabriyya and Prince Omar, to return to the future that awaits them, and Kelvin to return to the future that awaits him. Kelvin, two other things do you notice before tonight ends and our tale ends? One, in the sand, perhaps dropped from a finger, a ring.
Fancy that.
And the other, as you're looking at this ring and you glance up to the woman that you saw take it from the cup, there at the top of the great sand dune, only 2 riders now instead of 5, Prince Omar and Sabriyya Sunishal, and in the light of the setting sun, a swarm of something buzzing around her head, and for a moment, you see her, the woman, the warrior priestess, but her head is that of a jackal's. And then they ride on. And you're not sure if you'll ever see them again.
Huh. Well, waste not, want not.
And that's where our story will end for tonight. Oh, yay. I'll do this real quick. I've got a subscriber poll. I love it. I think Allison will love it too. It just says the big question: should Sabriyya, present day Sabriyya, gain 1d8 corruption immediately due to this moment in her past? And they voted 75% to 25% that yes, she should gain 1d8 corruption.
I'd like to say the other option says no, she has suffered enough.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks a lot. That's super sweet. So not only do I not get to keep my ring, let's roll that 1d8, shall we?
I believe that's Kelvin's ring.
5.
What corruption was she at already?
I think 3?
I'm going to double check. I think it might have been 6.
I don't remember.
We'll get to that at the beginning of next week. That's this episode. Everybody, thank you so much, chat. Thanks for hanging out, spending all night with us between Project Athena and May Black Roses Bloom. I had so much fun. Greg, I'm going to send it over to you.
Thank you, my friend, and let's talk to everybody, get their thoughts, hit the outros, and see where you can find and follow these fun people. We're going to start with right down below to Billy. Billy, how are you doing, my friend? And I got a little misty-eyed, too, when Rasha and John... Wow. What do you think, bud?
Oh, yeah, that hurts. That hurts, man. I really thought that I was going to be comedic relief until the end, but I was way off. And instead it turned into a tragedy, but I guess that's the best ones. Dude, this was awesome. I love these characters already. But I really appreciate the beauty and how it ended too, because it could have ended a lot of ways, and then the universe decided it to happen this way. So I'm really happy for that. If you want to follow me, I do May Black Roses Bloom usually on Wednesday nights with these guys. And then I'm in a podcast called Dice Tribe. You can find that on iTunes and Stitcher. And I'm with Don in that one as well. You can find me on Twitter at Bill of the Forest for more happy fun times. Greatly appreciate it. Legion, thank you guys so much for kicking ass tonight. It was a pleasure doing this for you.
Awesome. And let's jump, as this the only way that we really can do this. Let's go to Kiana. Kiana, how are you doing? And where can we find you online?
Oh, that poor ship. It was on the upward, and then, well, shit happened, apparently. So, till death do us part, I guess.
Beyond death.
But no, this was amazing. It was so much fun to play. this character and with everyone, and especially with you, Pope. This was awesome, and I can't wait to do more one shots. It's gonna be awesome, with bonus episodes. But yeah, you can find me over on Twitter at KennaS. Best way to figure out what I'm doing, because I'm all over the internet playing role-playing games almost every day of the week. You can find me Made Black vs. Room, obviously. But tomorrow, or today, depending on what time zone you're in, at noon, I am running my very first episode of a series of one-shots of Bluebeard's Bride, which is a tale of feminine horror. Basically, if you know the fairy tale of Bluebeard, we get to explore the house and the horrors that haunt it as his newlywed bride. It's going to be great. I have an awesome cast, and I'm super excited to be starting that off tomorrow. Allison will be on later on in the month as well. So it might have some smooches. They'll be real messed up smooches, but they'll be there. And otherwise, I'll just be doing some pretty terrible things. So come and hang out with me as we do that.
Fantastic. Doesn't that sound like fun? I can't wait. It sounds like a blast to me. Let's drop down to the aforementioned Allison. Allison, how are you doing? And where can we find you online other than getting horrific smooches? Because I'll be in the audience for that one.
Yeah. Wow. This was a hell of a thing. And silly me, I thought right up until the end that maybe this was going to have a happy ending. And in fact, I need to screenshot the chat from from our Zoom here, because then no, wait, this is May Black Roses Bloom. There's no happy ending.
You asked for this, Allie.
This is all going to hell.
You asked for this.
I asked for some of it. Greg, I'm so sorry. I'm terribly sorry. I feel so bad.
Not yet.
I'm so glad that you're a gracious keeper and would never even think of taking this out on me next Sunday. This was a blast. And Legion, nothing but love and light. This cast, I love each one of you. You're so much fun to play with. So much fun and so amazing. And Pope, most of all, I will sling dice with you anytime, my friend. That was a lot of fun. So y'all know where I am, at Allison Robinson with 2 L's and a Y on Twitter. Check me out there. It's all there. And I have a very, very patient girlfriend who's waiting for me, I think. So y'all have a good night.
Fantastic. And last but certainly not least, the man of the hour, the man that told a story in more ways than one, right there with Dawn. Pope, buddy, how are you doing? How'd you like it? And where can we find you online?
Oh, that was fantastic, and thank you all. Sincerely, that was something else. Don, you never cease to impress as a storyteller. And just all of you, thank you from the bottom of my heart for this. This was a great deal of fun. Legion, I love each and every one of you. You are incredible. Never forget it. And I'm looking forward to, we got what, 3 more of these? I think so. So we'll have those to look forward to. In the meantime, you can catch me over on Twitter at PopeDeadPool1. And for the most part, just keep these people in your circle. We all deserve some light in our lives, and these people provide it. Even when they run these dark and terrible stories, it's done with love. So till next time, take care, everybody.
And everybody's links are in chat, but Pope said it and I reflect it. Anybody that gets a link posted in chat, I feel very confident that you should follow them for kindness. Kindness is a commodity that is needed at all hours of the day, all days of the week, all months of the weeks of the month, all months of the year. But let's go to our dungeon master. My friend, hell of a pulpy tale, brother. Sorry to rope trick out on you there, but I'm really not.
I had a feeling that you might have some rope tricks up your sleeve for this one, and I loved it. I thought it was perfect. No, I had so much fun. Thanks for letting me roll, giant balls at you guys and, buzzsaws and stuff. I wanted to have a lot of fun with the adventure of this and introduce some new characters. I loved your guys' new characters, man. Like Rasha and John, they were great. Aken was so cool. And Greg, it's my favorite wig that you've ever worn, I think.
It's really mine too. I'm like really.
That's so good.
Everyone in chat was really into the wig too.
I have a hat to go with that wig. I may have to use it for a character in the future.
You're going to see this quite a bit. So anyway, thank you.
This is new Greg. I loved Kelvin, man. He was so cool and so different than the other characters that were in there, and so necessary for the story. I thought it was fantastic. I had so much fun. Looking forward to doing the rest of these. You can find me on Twitter. I play other games. That's fine. I'll be here on Wednesday for the finale of this season. It's going to be a lot of fun. Allison and Greg and some other great friends are about to wrap up very soon Project Athena. I love that story, and I have to give it a shout out because that's why without that I wouldn't even, this wouldn't even be a thing. So I love Project Athena. If you get a chance to check it out, even if you don't know what's going on, go there and watch that finale. Keep an eye on Greg's Twitter because it is going to be a lot of payoff, a lot of fun, and a lot of emotion and feels. So do that. Be here next Wednesday. I love y'all. Thank you for sticking up with us tonight, and I'm looking forward to the future.
Awesome, my brother. And for all the raiders that just came in, we're very sorry we're getting ready to wrap up, but hit that follow button if you like D&D, Dragonlance. We have our Wednesday show that Don just mentioned. We also have on Thursdays Dungeon of the Mad Mage. We're only second episode this Thursday of our playthrough, slightly changed so it doesn't ruin your own campaign. But we also have a lot of really super fun things coming in the new year that I cannot wait to start mentioning. There's one thing in particular that I am so super psyched about that is a special. I will say nothing, but it is going to be a super blast. Don's involved. I may or may not be. It's going to be fun. But anyway, everybody, thank you so much for being involved. Legion, you guys are the absolute best. You have created and worked with the narrative that Don has set into motion. You are actively writing sentences along with him in this story. Your fingerprints are all over May Black Roses Bloom. It was evident here tonight. Just for me, I love these characters too. What a perfect Dragonlance story. What a perfect budding romance chopped down in some hideous temple. This is Riverwind and Goldmoon shit. Only they didn't make it out, and I absolutely loved it. And Pope, Kelvin, I can't wait to see that cat again, man, because I told you in the private chat, I like the cut of his jib. I like this whole story aspect of how life is supposed to go. Dug it, everybody. So please hit that follow button if you haven't already. Join us, join everybody. Once again, all of my friends, including Tia. Let's throw Tia in there because she is part of Black Roses Bloom. And of course, Pope. Go through there, follow everybody up. Love you all. And as we say, which was evident tonight, you can't always roll nat 20s, but by God, you can always role play. So until next time, have fun, my friends.